Hello everybody, this is Seskinator11, and this is going to be my challenge run of Metal Gear Solid 2, played on European Extreme difficulty, going for the big boss rank without taking any damage. Now the first thing you're going to see here is that I'm loading a pre-existing save, and the reason for this is because it makes it easier to skip cutscenes, especially the one with Stillman and the bomb disposal. So that'll be very useful later on, and it saves a bunch of time. So the idea here is we're going to skip all these cutscenes, we're going to skip all the codec calls, because that's going to add on to your time, people, for the big boss rank. And you have to get under 3 hours for big boss rank. So the first thing you're going to see here is I'm going to be making my way to the left. And there's a guy up there, there's a soldier at the very top of the balcony, and you have to be very careful because going from normal all the way to European Extreme, the guards have heightened senses. I'm telling you, they can see from a mile away. These guards are ridiculous. So you need to be very careful. Here, I'm waiting just a few seconds before I move into this hallway, or else that guard is going to see me. And what's hilarious here is I always think about Dark Side Phil, and this is how you don't play Metal Gear Solid 2. And my gosh, he runs into that hallway while the SWAT soldier is just regaining consciousness, and then he gets an alert. And it's freaking hilarious, people. Oh my gosh. But yeah, you really don't have much time to, kind of dig around here. You have to hit your shots, because you also have to get under 700 shots, folks. The specifications are you have to play either on European Extreme or Extreme, which we're doing European Extreme, of course. You have to play Tanker Plant Scenario. You have to hit under 3 hours, and you also have to get under 700 shots. So you have to either not use any automatic weapons, which that won't be a problem, folks. We're going to do that. But you got to hit your shots too. There's also 3 alerts. You cannot get any higher than 3 alerts, which are all scripted.
Freeze.
So in other words, you have to get the scripted alerts, and you cannot, by any means, get any alerts by the soldiers while you're just playing. But yeah, we're making our way up. So the funny thing about this is I had to re-record this on PlayStation 5 because my PS5 froze and it corrupted the video file. Thank you, Mark Cerny, for freaking doing that. Thank you very much. But anyway, Olga, this strat is very well known. I go back and grab the M9 ammo and I go over to these crates and I crouch underneath and she can't find where I am. And you're just gonna crouch and aim through that opening and you're gonna aim at her foot. It is gonna be the slowest fight in the history of fights, but it is the safest fight. And this is a very, very good strat. Very safe strat. There are other ways too, other players that I've seen, where if you go to the right of the crates and she exposes her head, there's a certain technique to do this, and you can shoot her, I believe it's 4 headshots, even on European Extreme to take her down. It might be more, because I think the guide that I was watching takes her down on extreme difficulty. But yeah, this is just me camping out. This is a very clean fight, luckily. She didn't throw any grenades at me. On my previous attempts, she threw grenades. So yeah, you can't get any kills. That's why I'm going to be using tranq weapons. You can't use any continues, obviously, which, if you die, that's going to be bad. You can't use any rations, which European Extreme does not give you any rations at all. And the biggest part about this, folks, is you have to do it in 8 saves or less. The radar also has to be off, and the special items you cannot use at all. So we're talking, if you are cycling through the menu, you need to be very careful not to equip your bandana or your stealth camo, or else the big boss rank is done. So the other thing here, folks, is, of course, in my previous attempt at this recording, the one that was corrupted, I never had to go up and get the suppressor. Because when I was disabling the C4 in the bottom area of the ship in the engine room, nobody heard my shots. But of course, when I'm recording now, I guess a soldier regained consciousness, and he was standing right outside the door, and he heard me shoot every single freaking time. So I probably had to restart a total of 2 times before I could get a successful run. So you'll see me going for the suppressor here to avoid any chance of that happening, folks. So anyway, I'm going to play it safe. That's why I go for it. But luckily, I think I hit about just shy of 2 hours and 30 minutes in this entire run, so you have plenty of time if you know where you're going and what you're doing. Also, you're going to see me crouch there. That's because Snake has a cold, and that's because I don't want him to sneeze. That's a great way of not allowing Snake to sneeze. Here's another fun strat too. If you equipped and unequipped your weapon fast like that, Snake will be able to crawl much faster. And you'll see me use that a lot during this run. Now watch this. This is hilarious. I trank him, and I go for the camera. I miss because, you know, the laser sighting is balls. And it almost detected that soldier just then. Oh my gosh. That would have been an alert, an instant alert, but I just got it fast enough. It was very lucky. And I did not want to have to record this segment again. So there, I probably could have just, I probably could have dodge rolled in front of him to knock him over and run into the door, and I wouldn't have gotten alert. Because, folks, what's very important to know is that, and this is very well known, of course, about Metal Gear Solid 2, you get an alert from when they call in the alert. It's not when they see you. But you can set it as you saw me do. Oh yeah, love look at me go. I am a pro. I am a freaking pro gamer, guys. This is me going down the stairs. My gosh. How embarrassing, right? This should not have been the final run. But anyway. Yeah, the alert only counts when you hear that indicator. Like when you hear the brr, 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 and you see alert on the screen. But yeah, this video is going to move very fast. And I wanted to do commentary because I didn't do commentary yet on my Metal Gear Solid 3 European Extreme Foxhound rank run, no damage. And I felt it was necessary. I might go back and record commentary for it if this video does quite well. And if not, you know, we're going to see, because Metal Gear Solid Delta is coming out pretty soon. And I don't know how I feel about it. I mean, Unreal Engine is going to be quite shit, as we know. You know, it's going to run in like 2 frames a second, as I saw from the preview. So here I was crouching there because I didn't want to sneeze. Snake will surely sneeze when he's in that position. So here's what I think happened in my previous runs. I don't think I got this guy so close to the door up here. I don't think I tranked him when he was so close to the door. So it was either him or it was the other guy who was still conscious down below. I left him conscious because I didn't want to bother shooting him. And maybe that was the problem. Maybe that's why without the suppressor he kept detecting it. I'm sure that's how it was. So here, if you're quick enough, you can shoot this guy before he even radios in. But I'm playing it like a safe bastard, and I'm just waiting until he's done with the radio, and then I go for the headshot. And there's that. So now I'm putting on the suppressor. I'm making sure I don't equip my bandana. Because that's going to void the big boss rank, and that'd be a restart. And again, you only get 8 saves, folks. So the first save is actually relatively quick. But again, remember, this is me doing it no damage. And I have to be extra careful here. We have to hit the rank requirements. And what's fantastic about this hallway here is you'll see the flour in the back there. There's a big bag of flour. So if you don't have any thermal goggles to see where the control panels are to shoot, you can shoot the flour and you can see the lasers. If you don't have any thermal goggles to see the lasers for the C4. It is such an innovative game. And again, folks, this is the Master Collection of the game. I played on PS5. And, oh yeah, I gotta talk about this. So you'll see me keep going in first person here because there's a guy who spawns in right in front, and he can see you very quickly. So I'm trying to make sure that I trank him before he sees me. And there he is. He's right there. Now, in previous runs, I would shoot probably 6 million times trying to hit him, but this one I nailed him in the head instantly. It was fantastic. It's the third guy in this hallway coming up that I struggle with for whatever reason. This is me being extra cautious, folks, because again, the first save is coming up and I didn't want to fuck it up. So I go for the USB here. I go down and this is where I have trouble for whatever reason, because I see the dot on his head, and that's really what you want. You want to have the laser dot sight on his head before you fire. But for whatever reason, I think I was just far enough that I couldn't get it. So this is me trying again. I'm wasting shots right now. It's hilarious. But luckily enough, I think I get about like 6... I think my total shot count at the end of this was about 635 or something like that. And again, you have to get under 700 shots. So you're totally fine. You've got plenty of moments to, you know, fail in terms of your shot count. If you don't nail your shots entirely, it'll be fine. And now here's the first save with Otacon.
Do you want to save?
But yeah, this is going to be save number 1. Number 1 of 8. You only get 8 saves, folks, in this entire run. For the big boss rank, that is. And because we're going for no damage, we have to be very careful with where we save. So here, it's before this hallway fight. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to crouch behind this crate in front of me. And the thing here about these soldiers, and this is a very well-known strat and very well-known detail about these soldiers, even on European Extreme, is after they fire at you, they're going to hesitate a little bit. They're just going to pause for a couple seconds or so. They pause very quickly, like that. That does not last very long at all before they go back into cover. So you have to be a bit quick with your aim. And this requires a lot of practice, folks. So be sure to, you know, save before this fight if you are doing a no damage run. Again, it really is preference as to where you save. But here for me, what I'm going to do is I save before this hallway fight because it gets a little finicky. It gets a little tricky. So here's a grenade coming. I'm going to dodge roll out of the way because those grenades are very cheeky. When you saw that soldier approach me from the left, they move up perfectly, so that way their head is just above the crate, and you have to be quite fast to hit them, because they will be able to hit you, folks, even if you're crouched. So there's another grenade. Snake dodge rolls away. And that other grenade behind me, he threw that behind me because what it does is it tracks to your last known position. If you can visualize like one of those ghosts, like what is it, Splinter Cell Blacklist, where if you get discovered, it leaves a ghost there nearby. A little outline of your character, of where it was seen. That's where the grenade is thrown, a few seconds before your last position. So I'm trying to remember how many soldiers there are, and I did not count in watching this footage, folks, but I know there is quite a few. There might be 8 of them before this next group of 3 comes out. But what's nice about this next group of 3 is that if you trank the first guy fast enough, the next 2 won't be able to walk past him. So you can trank one in the head, trank the next one in the head, and trank the third guy in the head. And that ends the gunfight, which is very nice. So we get a little bit of breathing room here. Again, this next segment is going to be very long. This includes the end of the tanker. It includes this hallway fight, of course. It includes the end of the tanker, and then it includes the bomb disposal up until Fortune. And that's where save number 2 is going to be, is before Fortune. I did not trust myself to get through Fortune because her attacks can hit you quite easily. And again, I was going for no damage because I'm a crazy bastard, so that's what I do. So if you go into the room behind you, Snake will find the extra M9 ammo, which is quite useful for this segment in case you're running low, especially from the hallway fight. So now you'll have plenty of ammo to get through this next segment. So here I go with the equipped and unequipped, you know, handgun technique to make you crawl even faster, which is very useful. And yeah, here's a soldier over there that he's moving around back there, so we want to trank him so he's not a problem for us. Be sure not to walk on this grating because it will make noise and all the soldiers will discover you and you'll have to go back to where you saved last, which in my case is at the hallway fight. And DSP did not learn from that segment in his This Is How You Don't Play. he did everything wrong. He did nothing right in that segment. But yeah, if you're interested in watching that, it is easily available on YouTube. There's the This Is How You Don't Play. That was the first one that he played, and it was quite atrocious. And then there was one where he did a redemption run, and it's somehow even worse for a redemption run, which makes no sense. But anyway, this video is not going to be about bashing DSP. This is going to be about the challenge run itself, and just some things about, you know, my life and Metal Gear Solid and, you know, tangents such as those. So what's interesting is about New Game Plus, in this room here, you'll find that all the Marines are in their underpants. I don't know why. I don't know why Kojima had this idea of when you go in with a completed save, these Marines just decide to not wear any pants. I forgot to look up the reasoning for that, but it's quite hysterical. Because there's all these Marines, they've got no pants on, and they're just watching this guy speak to them about Metal Gear and, you know, the reasoning behind it. But yeah, we're going for all the pictures. It's quite straightforward. And what's nice about this is that we were fast enough to get to the computer before they did the stretching with their necks. You know, where the guy tells them, the commander tells them to look left, stretch right, look up, look down, you know, all those things. So getting past that will make it faster. You can skip this part with Otacon to make it go even faster. So now, you know, as I said in the beginning, there is a setting for this game where you can set the game as game over if you're discovered, prior to the alert being sounded. So again, when you're playing and a soldier discovers you, you could set it so that it's game over, but it is a little bit more challenging there, folks, because if the soldier spots you, it's not automatically an alert, so it won't count. It's only an alert if he calls for backup, and then you hear the burp burp noise, as I mentioned earlier on in this video segment. So yeah, here, what's very important is I go for the shaver. That shaver is only available on Extreme and European Extreme. And what that does is when Raiden goes and meets up with Snake later on in the game in Arsenal gear, he gives him the shaver, and he shaves off the stubble on his face, and it's quite cool. It's just one of those little details that they added in, and it's pretty funny. And I like it. It's a little charming, you know? It's those details in games that don't really exist these days. It's quite sad. Because modern gaming is all about monetary value and corporate greed and all that wonderful stuff that hopefully will change soon, but I don't know if it will. Because so many people support it. And so many other people get paid, like content creators, to support those games. So I don't think it's going anywhere. But anyway, that's a sad tangent. What I'm going to talk about here is, again, a very well-known strategy, and this is the complete antithesis of a speedrun. What I'm going to do with these three soldiers in this room is I'm going to drag them into the lockers in the starting bit of the plant phase, and right in here, I'm dragging them all the way. This is quite long and arduous, by the way, but what this does is it does not allow these guys to wake up ever. For whatever reason, whenever you put a soldier into the locker, even if he's tranked, if he's unconscious, he doesn't regain consciousness ever. This is indefinite unconsciousness. So what this does for this segment is it is a definitive way of getting past this opening bit. So that way I don't have to reload my save back to the Snake hallway segment and start fighting those soldiers again. Because mind you, if I fail anything, if I take damage in this next bit up until Fortune, I have to reload my save and start at the tanker hallway fight. But yeah, as I said, the next save won't be until Fortune. And it was funny because as Snake, when I was moving before, I think it was me going down the stairs. If you fall down the stairs, luckily it doesn't count as damage because Snake's HP stays the same and Raiden's HP will stay the same as well. So that does not count as damage. But yeah, it's a funny little, you know, animation that they threw in there whenever the character falls downstairs. Like if you're doing a dive roll or if you're doing, you know, the vault with, which is the handless cartwheel as Raiden, he takes a tumble. But yeah, as I mentioned before, this is not a run where I'm doing it no damage from start to finish. Like, if I were to take damage, I do not start at the very beginning of the game. I am not that crazy. There are some folks that are very dedicated, very committed. They won't do that sort of, they'll do that sort of thing easily. Me, I'm not one of them. That would make this game very long, arduous. This challenge run would be miserable for me. And just to be fully upfront, you know, games should be fun, right? This is why we're doing these things for fun at the end of the day. We want to have enjoyment from them. You know, life is stressful. Life is full of challenges. You know, we want to look to gaming as, you know, a healthy outlet, you know, to our stress. And sometimes things can be stressful in a challenge run, don't get me wrong, but it's an enjoyable stressful. It should never be something that, you know, you want to despise at the end of the day. It never should be something that you want to loathe, or, you know, it shouldn't be painful. You know, it's something that if you're doing for enjoyment's sake, for enjoyment purposes, that's all you need to do. That's what makes it fun. I mean, and that's why I'm doing this run, because I adore these games, as I did with my Metal Gear Solid 3 Foxhound no damage rank run, and also my Metal Gear Solid 1 rank 1. Which, as we're waiting for the elevator here and I'm doing squats with Raiden, that freaking challenge run for Metal Gear Solid 1 was completely enjoyable up until the point of the Liquid Jeep section. And I'm probably going to reference this throughout this entire challenge run video, because that, my friends, was not enjoyable in the slightest. That is where I completely gave up. I put in a good, probably, I want to say a cumulative amount of 5, maybe 6 hours total of, maybe even more, maybe up to 10 hours of just completely reloading the checkpoint at the beginning of that escape route portion and starting over again and trying to just grind it out. And after so much time, I discovered that with save states, with load states on emulator, which thank you again, Shin. Shout out to Shin for doing that, for getting me that save on the emulator for PC. Thank you again, man. That was very kind of you to do. When he was able to share that save with me at the beginning of the escape route on Extreme, I discovered that through save states, Liquid in that final phase of the Jeep section is completely random. It's completely RNG. So that's what made me want to quit the challenge run, and I didn't care. So I did it through save states, and that's what I went for. Now let me go back to Metal Gear Solid 2. So in this segment, if you just run across the platform here, because what I'm doing here, folks, is I'm going for the M9 first. I'm going for the M9 because the M9 makes me feel good about myself. It's probably way more impressive if I don't go for the M9, but I'm not a speedrunner. This is a no damage run. This is just for the big boss rank requirements, and that's all we're going for. We're having fun here. And it has nothing to do with speedrunning. So here I go for this guy, and I almost miss him there. And you have to be very careful here, because the sentry up there, he's flying towards you, and if you're not careful, if you don't go downstairs, he'll spot you. So I go up, I shoot that guy, and you'll see me when I'm going into first-person mode. If you're not familiar with this game, when I'm going into first-person mode, you'll see Raiden rise up a slight bit in the first-person mode segment. What that does, what I'm doing there is I'm hitting the L2 and R2 buttons at the same time, and that allows Raiden to get a better glimpse of things. So he stands on his tippy toes, and he's able to aim a little over the railings, a little over. Sometimes you can lean out from corners, which is nice. It's a nice little function that they added in this game. And I should point out that this is the first time they added that function. It's funny, because in Metal Gear Solid 3, when you do that, when you're behind a wall and you tippy-toe up and look over a wall, a guard will not see you at all. It's very powerful, that move. And even if you're behind a wall and you peek out around using that L2, R2 function, where you're peeking out, that guard will still not see you in Metal Gear Solid 3. That's not the case for Metal Gear Solid 2. If you're doing that in this game, a guard will spot you. So this game is way more challenging in terms of that mechanic. But I loved what they did with it, because it was just so much. It's more enjoyable in Metal Gear Solid 3, because then you're able to abuse and use that little tip there, little mechanic of the game. It's very fun. But yeah, another thing I should point out, a big difference between European Extreme and Extreme is the amount of time on the trank rounds. When you trank a guard, it's about 35 seconds until they're able to regain consciousness again. That makes a lot of these segments in the bomb disposal rooms way more challenging. And on Extreme, it's 3 minutes, which is more than enough time to get through these rooms, which is why European Extreme is way more challenging. It's, you know, if you're looking for a challenge, you go for that. And it adds some, you know, some cherries on top of this game, because it really makes you work for what you're going for. But yeah, this is very straightforward, this beginning segment. There are no guards yet. But this is why you use a completed save in this very segment, because you're able to skip these cutscenes and save time with Stillman. So that makes it a little bit straightforward here. But yeah, while we're going through these cutscenes, I'll talk a little bit about, you know, my history of Metal Gear Solid 2, because I didn't own a PlayStation 2 growing up. Well, eventually I did. Eventually I got one, but not at first. And I definitely didn't own one when this game released. So the unfortunate thing, and you guys are going to be very upset about this, whoever is watching, the viewers, you know, whoever is interested in this game, you're going to be immensely upset, as I am as well, that I never got to experience, you know, the big twist of this game where you think you're going to play as Solid Snake for the whole game, but then it switches to Raiden. And I never got to experience that firsthand, because I only watched a friend play this game, and he already spoiled it for me going into it. You know, when he booted up the game, he was like, you don't even get to play as Solid Snake. You have to play as this guy named Raiden the whole time, and he's not as fun, blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, god damn it, man. Why did you freaking spoil it for me? I wanted to go into this game, you know, thinking, you know, oh, you're going to play as Solid Snake, you know, as you did in the first game, and no. Nah, he wrecked it for me. But I am grateful because, you know, I got to witness him secondhand, you know, playing this game. And it was a lot of fun. You know, he made a lot of jokes. He handed me the controller for a bit, and you know, I was able to try a little bit. Okay, so in this room, you're gonna go through this door, and I'm not gonna look at any of the soldiers. I'm just going for the bomb, and then I get the hell out. Now I go for the chaff grenade. I chuck it because there's 2 cameras in this room, and then there's 2 areas of the hallway which is gonna make noise. You have to watch out for. So I do the Raiden handless somersault across. The handless cartwheel, you know, like freaking Darth Maul, and we get outside the door. And that's all we do. What's also interesting about this game, too, is while you're in first person, while you're aiming, you cannot equip and unequip the weapon you're holding. You have to exit first person mode and then equipped and unequipped it. That really threw me off coming from Metal Gear Solid 3 to this game, because Metal Gear Solid 3 fixes this mechanic beautifully. It allows Snake to cancel out the reloads that he does on his trank gun, because every time you shoot the trank gun, you have to reload it. He has to put another round in the chamber before he can fire again, and that takes a little bit of time with the animation. But what was really nice about Metal Gear Solid 3 is that can be canceled out through the equipped and unequipped function. So yeah, up here on the roof, we're going to go back behind this guy. We're going to hold him up and trank him. And again, I have to be very quick because only 35 seconds, give or take, until he wakes back up again. So we go for the bomb up here. And a lot of the bombs, you know, are in different places on European Extreme. They add more. I believe the bombs are in relatively the same places in Extreme, but I could be wrong. Because again, I haven't played Extreme. I went straight from normal to European Extreme, which was quite a slap to the face, if I do say so myself. So now I'm waiting for that guy to move around the corner. This is a streamer that I follow, Seraphim17's strats right now. Except for equipping and unequipping a pistol right now. This is all me. But yeah, look at Raiden. Look at him go. You know, look at him. Looks like he's seizing all over the ground. You know, he's moving across, but it gets us there fast. But yeah, I was watching Seraphim17's original guide on this because he played it on European Extreme, and he wasn't going for Big Boss, but a lot of the strats that he used in the rooms work very well for a big boss rank guide. So I'm forever grateful for Seraphim 17's guide on helping me. So thank you again for that. But yeah, it makes this a lot easier and a lot more enjoyable. But yeah, we got about 12 or so minutes until we get to the next save. Which again, doesn't seem like a lot of time, but when you're disposing all of these bombs, it is a lot of time, folks. So yeah, to be ultra safe, I wait until this guard turns around fully before I run over and get to the exit. What's nice too about Raiden's handless cartwheel is when you're doing that, it allows them to move much faster than just running. So you'll see me do that a lot of times. And I hate the frickin' PS5 controllers because the buttons are so sensitive. Oh, and that was me using the tiptoe viewpoint there to wait for that guard to go down the stairs so he didn't detect me. The guard's vision in European Extreme, I can't stress enough, is ridiculous. They have Legolas vision. They I mean, not even Legolas vision, but they near have, you know, human vision in this game, even though it's a video game. So yeah, strut F the warehouse. This is a little tricky segment here. So what I do is I trank the guy up there, and I'm going to wait for his friend to come out. What's nice, if a guard finds another guard unconscious, he is drawn to that guard. So you'll see him. He's walking over, he's looking down straight at the guard, and he'll take probably a second or two to kick him, to wake him up. So before he kicks him, I trank him. And now I trank these guards again because, you know, 35 seconds, you need to refill the trank every second you get. Because this room is very challenging, folks. So we go for this guy, we get him in the head, and I'm jumping over, equipping the coolant, and we go for the bomb right away. And then we can't waste any time because look, he's asking for the status report, waiting for the guy to radio in, but you can go fast enough to get the hell out of the room before the backup is called, and you're safe.
Jack?
But yeah, it wasn't until about high school till I bought my first PS2. And that was a PS2 that I actually owned in my room. I was able to get Metal Gear Solid 2. I was able to get Silent Hill 2. It was a good time. But yeah, I was probably about like 13 or so at the time when I first bought it. And then I was able to properly play Metal Gear Solid 2 firsthand. And it was the most enjoyable experience. Alright, so you're going to see me throw a claymore. Or not a claymore. I'm reading claymore on the screen. Sorry, folks. I'm going to throw a chaff grenade. I'm going to trank the guy up top on the staircase, and then we're going to use the quick unequipped and re-equipped button to crawl our way across the claymore so we don't have to worry about him ever again. Now, the parcel room, again, credit to Seraphim 17 for this strat. He did a wonderful guide on this. You go for that guard by leaning, and then go barely into this room, or else these guards are going to see you from across the room. You wait for that guy to go through the rails, you trank him in the head, equipped your sock'em, and you destroy the cameras. If you are fast enough, you can do all of this. Within 35 seconds, disarm the bomb just as the guards are starting to regain consciousness. And here, I'm going for the coolant, and I spray the bomb just as it's going in. It decreases a little bit of time that I need to waste over here while I'm waiting for it to re-emerge. But once it re-emerges, we're right as rain and we can get the hell out of here. And we go to the heliport up top. So yeah, here we go. There it is. There's the bomb. We head on over. I'm doing the cartwheel because, again, the guy at the bottom is just regaining consciousness. And the other important thing about this challenge run in Big Boss is you cannot use the radar at all. So you have to rely on just your senses and just memorization of the guard patterns, everything in this game, everything around you. So up top here, what I do is, see, I'm using the tippy toe function, and I can see this guard's tip of his head just above the crates back there, the containers. And then over to my right, see, look at the guard's footsteps going past, his little legs. He's going over to the left, we use a somersault, and we go ahead and hold them up, and they're none the wiser. Very important to at least have one cardboard box on you at all times. There's one on the helipad right there. Very convenient. And then I use Raiden Somersault. We go for the bomb just under the Harrier. Which, a little foreshadowing, when you come back here, the Harrier is gone, which tells you that might be a boss battle in the future. You know, a little nice detail they throw in here about these games, which I very much enjoy, I very much value. Again, back when games had a lot of charm to them, and now most of them suck. But yeah, I'm re-equipping my Trank, because here's a very key detail here. You're going to look to your right, you're going to lean out, and that guard is going to be positioned there. If you run down those stairs, he will spot you immediately. So now I put on my box, I go up to the right, to the left here, I wait, because that guard at the top, at the bottom left of the screen, he is going to turn around, and once he does, you can get the hell out. So at this time now, all we have now is the final strut. I believe it is strut D, the sediment pool. So here's my shit aim. I aimed a little too high there, because I found that if I didn't aim high enough on these guards, I found that Raiden would hit their neck, and it wouldn't count as, you know, an insta-trank, because I missed their head. I found that in my practice runs, I was doing that a bunch of times, and it really screwed me over. So now here for the sediment pool, I go for the guy over there, and I think this is a place where I might get spotted, and then I have to run out, but I can't remember. So I'm going to be experiencing this for the first time with you guys too, because it's been a while since I recorded this, and I'm finally getting at the commentary for it. So here, I shoot that guy there, I shoot him, and the guy up top I shot in the arm, I believe, and I think he sees me. Yeah, see, look. See? He sees me? Okay, I don't think he saw me fully then. So I think he's going for, Wow, what am I doing? I didn't... Okay. Never mind. Sorry, folks. I saw him go down. Again, I apologize. It's been a while since I recorded this. So I pumped him full of trank rounds, so then he went unconscious later on, so he's none the wiser. So now we have to be very fast. I go for the M9 bullet refill, very important. We go all the way down. This is the final bomb over here, underneath this crate. And this is the final portion of the game where you have to disarm the bombs and the struts. Once you get past this, all you have to do is leave this room, and the rest of this segment up until the second save is very straightforward. Now, 35 seconds, folks. All of these guards are going to be waking up now. We could not be fast enough. So what I do is I don't give a shit. I am pumping them full of trank rounds. I am not going to do this again because fuck this. I'm not going to dispose of all these bombs. This was probably my third or fourth attempt at this segment. You know, and I'm not including the hallway segments where you know I kept taking damage as Snake in the hallway fight. I'm including the ones where I made it to the plant segment of the game, and I started to dispose of the bombs with Raiden. So now I'm going over. I'm leaning out so I can get that guard there, because if I fire the Sock'em, he's going to notice me. So we do that. If we're straight underneath the camera will not see us. Totally fine, folks. Again, if you're practicing these segments, I would recommend getting a feel for them. It is all about feel for challenge runs. It is barely about strategy and planning. I mean, that is a great percentage of what you're doing, but the rest of it is all execution and feel. So now we're going for Sensor B, and now Stillman is telling us that Fat Man got him. He got him played. There's another bomb, and we have to go all the way back to the start of the plant chapter, where the submarine was, where you swam in. So instead of me doing that, we only have 200 seconds on European Extreme. Every difficulty, every subsequent difficulty, you have less time to get to this bomb. But I found that going for those M9 rounds, which was very smart, you have plenty of time to do that. So don't worry about it. We go for this cipher there, shoot it down, and I am cartwheeling my way to victory. We are making our way down. The transformer room is a little tricky again, where I'm going to throw a chaff grenade. This is not a speed run, folks. I am doing comfortable strats right now, and this strat is comfortable for me. A lot of people will run in the room to the right and surpass the soldiers very quickly. That is a very impressive speed run strat. That is not me, okay? I'm doing comfortable bits here. So, again, once we get to this bomb, we're effectively done with this segment. This guy is going to see me every time, but I don't care. I'm going to trank him fast enough before he runs over and spots me. Now, this guy over here, we're going to wait until he turns around. This is the same strat that we used earlier on. And I'm going to run over. I'm going to aim for him, because I'm not going to risk cartwheeling over these noisy bits of the floor, or else he's going to turn around, spot me, fire his machine gun at me, his assault rifle at me to take damage, and then ruin the no damage run. So now we just run past this guy. We go up the stairs. He is none the wiser. No issue there. And we go straight to the elevator on the Strut A roof. And that, if you get past that, that is effectively the segment right there. And then we can make it to our second save. Now, the saves are personal preference. Again, I'm doing a no damage run, so I wanted to be sure to save before bits where I knew I was going to take damage at least once. So before the hallway fight in the tanker, as Snake was the first save, the second save is going to be in a little bit just before Fortune, right at the Fortune battle. Because if she hits you once, you pretty much die. You either die or you take damage from the light fixtures that fall down from the ceiling, and it's not fun. So that would have been a reset for me all the way to the hallway fight if I decided not to save at Fortune. And that's the final bomb. Well, not the final bomb of the game, but that is the final bomb in this segment before your second save, if you're following this. So now, since I disposed of all the bombs and all I have to do is run up to the Fortune battle, I go for the thermal goggles down here, which I realized I don't really need, because you get to pick them up at the beginning of the Emma sniping portion. So you don't necessarily have to do this if you don't want to, but I do anyway, because I was curious if they were still there. And the good news is they are. So now we're going to head back over. We're going to go to the Fortune battle. And I'm getting myself prepped and ready for the save. So all I have to do is equip the cardboard box, because we're going to run around like a madman and avoid her fire. And that's going to be that. And as soon as it starts, we go for the save, because in case I take damage in this segment, I will be reloading my save and going to a previous save. And there you go. Alright, folks, so this is the beginning of segment number 3. And what you see me doing here is that we're trying to avoid Fortune's fire. So after she double taps you like that, you're going to move the box to the right or to the left immediately after she double taps. Now, the thing you got to worry about the most is right there. When the light fixtures start to fall down like that, those can give Raiden damage. Those can damage Raiden. And even the canister that starts to explode, or the oil that starts to creep out underneath the boxes or the crates, that's really important to avoid, because Raiden, again, will take damage. So it's really just a matter of practicing the timing for this. And this segment in total is mainly the Fortune fight. It's staying alive during the Fortune fight, and that's about it. And then we're getting to Fat Man. It's the quickest save in the world, which I'm kind of guilty of, but at the same time, because I'm going for no damage and getting big boss rank, if I take damage at Fat Man, it would be at the start of the Fortune fight, and that'd be kind of tedious. Alright, and when she starts to fire at the surroundings, at the environment, and she yells burn, that's when you're going to get the codec call, and that's when it's going to be over, folks. And then we get to the cutscene, and now we're heading on over to the helipad to disarm the bomb, the final bomb that Fat Man has laid for us, with a time limit. Now what you need to remember here is the claymores. So what you're going to see me do is do the strat where I equipped and unequipped my weapon, and we're going to pick up the 2 claymores and head on down to the pump room. But yeah, overall this project has been very enjoyable. And from here on out, folks, in this particular segment, you're going to see me be very unsure of what I'm doing because this was a first attempt, this segment here. And this does not include the Fortune fight. I've definitely taken damage and or died during the Fortune boss fight. But this right here, this is all one take. And I kept it in. I could have re-recorded it to make it a bit cleaner, but I didn't want to fight Fortune again. But yeah, watch this. I went too fast, and that guard saw me from down there just as he was going down the steps, and he nearly spotted me. And as soon as guards spot you like that, they will fire their assault rifle and you'll take damage. Now, you could stop them from calling in backup and prevent the alarm from sounding. But again, this is a no damage run. We're trying to take absolutely no damage from any of the enemies in the game or any source. And that's the beauty of this challenge run. So what I do here is I trank the two guards up top, and we don't have to care about the guards down below, because we're just running out of this room. We're heading to the helipad. To the beloved Fat Man fight, which is going to be pretty ridiculous. But again, it's a lot of pattern recognition. There's a good starting point to the boss fight that's well known, and speedrunners can do it even better. But I did the best of my ability. This was not a speedrun by any means, folks. I take my time, I enjoy it. You know, again, challenge runs are about the enjoyment of it. It's about trying to conquer something that you wouldn't otherwise do in a normal run, and it's to make the game a little more interesting, especially, you know, since Metal Gear Solid 2 I'm a huge fan of, but not nearly as much of a fan as Metal Gear Solid 3. But yeah, this is a little different here in the parcel room. You know, I use the box to get past the guard that walks out from the right side where he's coming out from the staircase, and we just sneak on by him. And because when Raiden dons the box, the cardboard box, the infamous cardboard box, we don't have to worry about the other guards seeing you, because you're crouched. Unlike Metal Gear Solid 4, which enabled the ability to move and crouch at the same time. Of which Old Snake had to apply a warm compress to prevent his back from giving out. But yeah, as soon as we disarm that bomb, this is when the Fat Man fight is going to begin, and this is when I'm going to save for the 4th time in the game. Or actually, I'm sorry, this is the 3rd save. I can't count, guys. I am sorry. Alright, the beginning of the Fat Man fight. This is a pretty well-known loop. He will skate every time to that right side when you're facing him. You can get in some two cheeky headshots to his fat dome. And now we're going to go for the first bomb over to the left. When we do this, you have to be very careful, because sometimes he will skate over to where you are and he will damage you. So you have to be somewhat fast, and it's somewhat RNG. So here, he falls very nicely there. He allows me to shoot him in the head, because sometimes he will fall in a way where you cannot hit him, and it's freaking ridiculous. It's kind of balls, actually. Alright, so now I place a Claymore. Again, a well-known strat. We go for the head. Twice in the head. He starts to dance because you disarmed all the bombs. Then we go for another shot to the rollerblade, and another 2 hits. And now this is where it becomes a matter of RNG. So luckily, he skated north. And I missed the one headshot there. Look at that shit. I missed him there. Alright, and luckily he goes to the right, enabling me to hit him again. And now we go for the headshot. I think I missed there. I couldn't exactly see the HP gauge. Apparently I can't, I put the wrong emphasis on that syllable. I'm the best commentator there ever was, folks. Alright, we go for 2 headshots. Look, he's just got a pixel of health now. When he starts to fire like that, you can somersault away from him. And it's all field. I've got no Sock'em bullets, and that's the end of Fat Man. And I still have 1 bomb to go, and I'm struggling hardcore to find it right now. This is me panicking. I've got 6 seconds, but the bomb is right in front of me, right there. Come on, Sesk. Get the bomb. And there we go. Look at that, just in the nick of time. Oh, man. And what's funny here is I don't know why they keep this at a minute and... what was it, a minute and 35 seconds? They should really make it like 15 seconds on European Extreme to find this bomb. Because you know where it's going to be. I mean, you've played the game before. You have to unlock the game. You have to unlock this difficulty by completing it once on European Extreme. So I don't know why they don't just keep it in there or make it a little modifier for the difficulty. But yeah, now we can breathe. That was probably the most challenging portion of this segment. And this segment is about, what is it, about near 20 minutes long? And the only reason for this, for my recorded version that is because I did have to pause the game midway through this segment because I was going up to take a pizza out of the oven. But yeah, this is some more exposition.
Why did they have to bring the...
Finding out about Metal Gear Ray. Another spin, you know, another little twist in the game that I didn't expect. Well, that I did expect because I saw my friend play this entire game in front of me. But yeah, that was a little bit upsetting. So remember, folks, when you somersault down here and enter the Strut E parcel room, this guy is going to be facing you on the staircase again. So you have to trank him in the head. And then be sure to don the cardboard box again. And we're going to make our way down below. And we don't have to worry because that other guy, he is still tranked for whatever reason. I have no idea what happened. I think time just pauses when you're fighting Fat Man, which is kind of funny. So that guy stays tranked from when I tranked him before. It just negates the whole time of all of this time in the game. Time freezes when you're fighting a boss, apparently. Which is interesting, because I wonder if you can do anything ridiculous with that. If you can do some shenanigans with the game mechanics. So yeah, now this is my wonderful aim. I missed this guy a few times. I finally get him in the head. Now we're going for the AK, but this is the way I do it. A lot of people go down to the first floor, and they go through the door. If you see it, to the level 2 door to the right. And there's a guy facing you. If you walk into that room very fast, he will see you almost instantly. And this is me fucking up with the trank shots. I finally get him, and then I get the other guy again. And now we're gonna jump down, and we have to be very fast. I'm using the bomb tech right now for this. So now, when you come in here, he's gonna be facing away, and this is a guaranteed hold up, which is very nice. So we get the AK. We get out of the room. We have to get the fuck out of Dodge because those guys up top are going to be waking up because 35 minutes of trank, remember folks, on European Extreme, it's very sweaty. And we're going to make our way out here, and I believe, yeah, I'm going to shoot all the ciphers because I don't think I have enough chaff grenades, which is this is kind of risky in my opinion. But I don't know if that guard is standing at the top of the staircase. I feel like he always does. But I don't know. Because he could clearly see my shots. But he's not up there. Look, he's not even walking upstairs. It's just the ciphers. So I just decide, fuck it, I'm going for it. If I mess up, I have to start at Fat Man again, but who cares? Even though that's kind of ridiculous. So you have to be very fast here. Keep doing somersaults. But don't hold X, or else Raiden, I almost called him Raiden, gosh. Worst fan ever. Raiden is going to go into a crouch position, into prone position, and that's going to make you die. So don't do that. And I hate the PS5 controller, because again, the freaking PS5 controller and how sensitive the buttons are, it's like the buttons are so sensitive, but yet they're not. So here is where you're going to get the SOCOM suppressor, which is very important because it allows you to take down cameras without being spotted. It's really nice. So I go ahead and pop that on. I'm very careful not to equip the stealth camo or the wigs, because if you equip those, you have to restart your save because it will negate Big Boss. So yeah, I'm going through here. I'm looking where the guards are. I'm determining, should I shoot that camera? And you really don't need to shoot this camera over here because you are not going to be on this wing of this area ever again, especially when you come out of here. And especially even later on, which you don't even have to worry about cameras. So don't shoot that camera. You really don't need to. It's unnecessary. Don't do what I do. Be better. Be better in your runs, folks. Alright, so I'm over here and I'm like, should I shoot the cameras? No, I really shouldn't. I just go for the elevator. Because we'll be fine. So go to B2 first, and down here is going to be the parrot. Emma and Otacon's parrot. And you're going to go and pick up the directional mic, which we need to identify aims. The hostage. And I have a funny story in this whole segment because I had to restart and go all the way to Fat Man in the hostage room because apparently the hostages can trip you, which never happened to me in my normal run, my easy run, or very easy. I think this is a mechanic in the higher difficulties. So what happened was one of the hostages just decided to trip me. And of course, if you come in contact with anybody in this game, Raiden will lose his disguise. So then it was insta-fail, so I had to restart from the Fat Man save all over again. And that guy, I don't know what that guy does. He does something really strange. He decides to hold up his rifle and start doing fast jogging laps around the entire area. So I assume that's just to make you sweat a little bit more. And if you run into him, you know, you lose your disguise and you go into alert phase. Again, this game just has its charms, and then at times it's just downright strange. So here, you're going to knock on the wall, you're going to attract that guard, and this is the easiest way of dealing with this segment right here. Because we're going to wait until he looks the other way, we're going to unequip our AK and drag him over to the retinal scanner, and nobody's the wiser. We are in.
Retinal pattern recognized. You are cleared to enter.
So now we are in. We can identify aims. And be sure not to go over the hostages. See, look at the hostages. I'm looking for aims right now. I'm looking for the long hair. And look where he ends up being. He is right on the edge of the table right there. It was the same position, I believe, that he's in your first run of the game. Which, that is a set position that he stays in, which is at this table, I believe. It might be the table to my left. I can't exactly remember, you know, because I'm a fake fan, guys. But he's at one of these tables at the south end of the room. And if you find him with the long hair, you're good. But what you don't want to do is walk through that crowd of hostages to the right, because one of them will trip you, and they will ruin the run for you. So be very careful. This is me waiting for all the guards to look the other way, because if they spot you, unequip your gun, they will alert you right away.
Your aims, aren't you?
So if somebody sees me from the distance, it's totally fine, because the cutscene will take priority, and you'll be totally safe.
Are you?
But yeah, now it's just a mixture of cutscenes, and you know, we're almost there. We're almost at the end of this. Again, the most challenging rooms are going to be the parcel room and the sediment pool. And then, of course, you have to be very careful when shooting the C4 panels on the bridge, the Shell 1-2 connecting bridge. But yeah, it's kind of a shame, folks, because a lot of people, you know, everybody has different levels of gaming challenge, you know, and what they like to watch on YouTube. And for the most part, it tends to be a lot of casual play, which is totally fine. You know, if the entertainer, if the content creator, you know, says a lot of funny stuff, or, you know, he takes your mind off of work a little bit, that's fine. But I feel like anybody who publishes or, you know, uploads, I say publish, it's upload and creates, you know, a good challenge run, I feel like that's not appreciated by a lot of YouTube. And I'm using this opportunity, by the way, this is where I paused the game to run up and get my pizza out of the oven, or else it would have burnt. And of course, this was the successful segment that I recorded. So you'll just have to bear with me and listen to my commentary and watch the map. But yeah, I ran pretty quickly. I had to go upstairs. I had to go to the oven because I was downstairs in the basement playing this, and yeah. So my wife was probably like, "What the hell are you doing? Why are you going so fast?" And I was like, "Challenge run, babe." And then I got out of there. And then she didn't have to ask any more questions. But yeah, I feel like nobody really appreciates a good challenge run on YouTube, you know, because the algorithm is just so messed up and faulty. And one of my good friends, he explained the algorithm to me in a very a very, you know, intuitive way. And it's kind of funny. The creators of YouTube don't even know what the hell they're doing with the algorithm. It's really funny. They just let it be. It's a whole AI. It's a whole AI thing. They let it be. They let AI take over, and AI does what AI does best, and that's the very intuitive nature of AI. But when you go and ask it many questions, you'll eventually find that it's not smart enough. It's actually quite dumb, and you can really, if you know what to ask, you'll be able to dupe it a lot of times. But it keeps evolving, folks. It's quite interesting. So here, that guy, the SWAT guys, by the way, will auto-alert if they see you once. That's why you have to be very careful in this segment. So this is me going against the wall here, pressing up against the wall, checking where the guards are. There is a SWAT guy to the left over there. And now what I do is I go for the camera first, the two cameras, because I don't want to be discovered by any of these people. This guy, I don't know how he didn't see me. Maybe it was Raiden wearing the camouflage. But this worked out to my favor because look, I trank him. That guy is trained on him because again, whenever a guard sees another guard who is tranked, they for whatever reason will just auto focus and tunnel vision their way on that guard and not even look up to see you at all. And what that does is this allows the caution to end, and now we can move forward, and I throw a chaff grenade, and we go across the bridge. Right now what I'm doing is I'm going for that guard up top because I don't want him to see me. So I nail him right in the head. That was a fantastic shot. And we go ahead and somersault our way to victory. And luckily I didn't somersault up those stairs because Raiden would have fell, and that would have, I might have been discovered because the chaff grenade might have ran out, but we were fast enough. So that was really good. But yeah, I hope one day YouTube can change and, you know, people can appreciate more of the challenge runs out there and just appreciate the time and effort that it goes into them. Because, granted, when I was watching people like Seraphim17, people like the Godfather Dictator, and, you know, a bunch of other folks who engage in challenge runs, you know, yes, I appreciate the challenge, but I didn't quite understand it firsthand until I actually did a challenge run myself. So that I can understand, right? You can appreciate it way more if you've done something similar in your life. But still, I think it's really impressive. Like, for example, Godfather Dictator and his Ninja Gaiden 2 no damage run on Master Ninja. I can't even fathom what that would be like firsthand. I've only played Ninja Gaiden Sigma, for gosh sakes. I'm a platinum vet of Ninja Gaiden Sigma, folks. Which, I say that now, if you're not familiar with that term, that is a major exaggeration. Getting the platinum does not mean that you are the pro in a game by any means. It just simply means that you achieved all the trophies or achievements, and you know it in no way compares to a challenge run, especially a no damage challenge run. And I'm not saying that to belittle anybody who's playing the game, by the way. I'm going to be very clear about that. Everybody has their ways of playing games, and any type of playstyle is fine. You know, as long as you are honest about it, as long as you are not, you know, buttering yourself up to be the big man on campus or big woman on campus, you know, for doing that. It's about being honest and, you know, being okay with your casual nature, and that's totally fine. The issue lies where people like DSP, beg for money and call themselves the average Joe gamer, and then start to make fun of the game instead of accepting the fact that they are mediocre at their skills, if not subpar at their skills. That's where the problem lies. But I digress, folks. So now this is the sediment pool. As soon as I went in, I crouched because I didn't want that guy. So look at this. That guy, he saw me, but luckily I crouched, so he didn't fire at me. And then he was about to call in an alarm, but I tranked him, and then I ran out of the room to reset it. Because he was not the guy who's in charge of the radio. It's the guy at the level below. So that's me running out, and that's me abusing the game mechanics there. Because remember, if I failed in this segment, I would have to go all the way back to Fat Man again and fight him. which isn't that long in the grand scheme of things, but it is a nuisance. So I wanted to avoid that nuisance and just, you know, manipulate the game mechanics here a little bit. So now everybody's tranked. I run up before anybody wakes up, and now we're pretty much home free if you're trusting of your aim right now. That was me trying to mash start to get through the cutscene. I should really just mash X next time.
Right.
That's what happened to me too before the hallway fight with Snake. Alright, so I go for the Pentazemin, which is a benzo, which is highly addictive, according to a lot of psychiatrists. Be very careful if a psychiatrist prescribes benzos, alright? They're extremely addictive. Alright, so now I take care of the ciphers first, because those are probably the most challenging shots to make in this right here. And we're going for the C4. We nail the control panels. There's two there, and then there was the one behind me that I got earlier. And what I'm doing here is I'm looking for the one down below. See, there it is. It's just to the right, and I'm like, this is not going to work, so we go on our tippy toes, and we get the control panel down there taken care of. And this is kind of risky right here. You know, that could have been risky. Because, again, you can't look at the irons for the Sockum. You have to look at where the laser is going. As long as the laser is on the target, that's where the bullet goes for the most part, when you're holding it steady, of course. Because for the longest time when I first played this game, I looked at the irons, and that is a mistake. You do not want to look at the irons, folks. But yeah, we're getting to one of the most epic segments of the game, the most epic boss fight probably in this entire game, in my opinion. It has one of my favorite quotes of all time, and that's when, oh, by the way, let me make a comment here. If you kill one of the seagulls, it does not count as a kill in the game. I want to be very clear about that, because I was thinking that, and I was like, did I just fuck up my big boss run? You do not fuck up your big boss run by doing that. Because think of it this way, in Metal Gear Solid 3, you have to kill a lot of animals, and those don't count as kills. So, and I understand completely, folks, that you're also going to be questioning, right? This is a separate game. Right. Sometimes the specifications, the requirements can be different, but it's not.
Colonel.
But yeah. All right, and now this is going to be save number 4. And it's just before the Harrier. And this is going to be another beefy segment coming up. Alright, so now for the Harrier fight. This is going to be a bit tricky at first, but as you do it quite often, and you repeat this fight as much as I have, which was, I want to say, no more than probably 4 or 5 times. Maybe 6? I can't exactly remember. You get the hang of this fight. So immediately in the beginning, you can pummel him with a lot of Stinger missiles to take down his damage very early on. And I'm going to try to continue what I was saying before I was talking about the sensors that you have to shoot, because there is one of the most epic lines of all time in this segment here, in the cutscene just before this boss fight, and this is probably my favorite line of the game, and that's where David Hayter yells, "No, that is not Solid Snake." So anyway, that is probably one of my favorite lines of the whole game. Burn, baby! But anyway, tougher than I thought. I love all these lines. Oh my gosh. So epic. This is probably one of the most epic boss battles of the game. But anyway, it's all about knowing the iframes. You know, when you go for the iframes, and you have Raiden jump over the rail to hang low, he can avoid a lot of the attacks from the Harrier, and then you can target the Harrier very, very fast and go for some damage. Now in this segment right here, what I do is I run up and down the stairs. Sometimes a cheeky missile will sneak through, once in a blue moon, but for the most part, it's going to be just fine. And then afterwards, you can get some hits on him, as I do right there. Also, I counted if I hit the Kazatka. If I hit the helicopter that Snake and Otacon are in, I count it as damage, because you can see the HP meter there. Which, now that I think of it, I don't think I hit them at all during this entire boss battle, even in my earlier attempts. So when you see him do that, that's when he's going to do the machine gun fire, and that's when you equip the cardboard box, and you do some circles around this, this whatever it's called, an air conditioning unit, or, you know, whatever you find, whatever you want to call it over here. But yeah. So what you have to be mindful of here, folks, is if he changes sides, and he can easily get a cheeky machine gun fire off of you. But for the most part, you're pretty much safe. Sometimes a bullet will whiz by, but you have to, again, know the feel of this game, know the placement of where to stand. It's all about the execution and not just about what to do. That's another great quote. I'll let you go out in style. So that move right there, that's a little delay, you know, in the homing missile that he shoots at you with the Harrier. Alright, and now whenever the camera changes perspective like this, we're going to do our... Raiden's going to be the Stairmaster, you know, the ultimate Stairmaster. He's going to go up and down the stairs, avoiding those missiles. And we go for the fire. We go for the damage. And this is me screwing up right there, my gosh. I think I got a little too jittery there. Now he's equipping and unequipping the Stinger. Yeah. For the most part, it's relatively easy to find where the Harrier is. Sometimes the sun can get away, but what's interesting about this game is it really does the passage of time very well. Now we go back to the machine gun, we go behind the air conditioning unit, and we avoid his gunfire. Again, none of this entire game is as bullshit as the Liquid Jeep portion at the end of Metal Gear Solid 1. That one made me rage so hard, it was not even funny. And I know I talked about that earlier in the video, folks, but I want to be sure to bring that up again, because there are ways, for the most part, very easy strats to get through these boss battles. And it has nothing to do with nowhere near the scale of the Liquid fight. The Liquid Jeep segment in Metal Gear Solid 1. I'm sorry if I'm really stumbling over my words right now, folks. I'm continuing my recording of this after work, and after work my brain is effectively a scrambled egg. But yeah, a little bit about what I do as a full-time job. So this gig right here, this is just a hobby for me, and I know a lot of people make money off of YouTube, and you know, I respect them for that. That's great that they're able to do that. But for me, I just like getting my videos out there occasionally, my challenge runs, and just to, you know, give some people some entertainment once in a while, and that's essentially what the purpose of these videos are. But yeah, what I do for a living is I am a therapist, and I've been doing it for about 11 years now, and I'm looking to move away from client-facing therapy. Because lately I've been quite burnt out, and I think a lot of it has to do with my work condition right now and how often you have to see clients and how little I get paid for seeing those clients. But I think most of it is the fact that I am ready to move on to something else. And don't get me wrong, folks, I do want to stay inside the psychology field, but I do want to do something a little bit different is the issue. I want to prove that I can transfer my skills as a counselor to something else, and, you know, more admin style. Yeah. But I hope everybody is getting some entertainment. Whoever is staying with me and watching this that long, this long into the video, I hope you're still finding entertainment. So now the Harrier is effectively almost down to a few pixels of health. Now that is 1 pixel. That is exactly 1 hit. And look what he's going to do now. He's going to do the missiles. So you can bet your ass I am shitting myself right now, going up and down the stairs as Raiden, you know, trying to avoid these missiles. Because I only need to hit this guy just once. But luckily, you know, we have the rhythm, we have the rhyme, and we get through it pretty fast.
Right.
And now we move on
Colonel.
We move on now to getting to Emma. Well, first getting to the President. Now this jump right here, folks, is all feel. That is very particular, and you want to be able to do that at the very last minute. And I will not forget with DSP's run of This Is How You Don't Play Metal Gear Solid 2, how he kept missing that jump, and then he even goes so far as to run down the pipe and then slip on the bird poop at the end. That was so good. Oh my gosh. Alright, for these two guards up here, I go ahead and trank them because I don't want to, you know, dick around and risk anything. It's very hard to see with the trank and the laser, especially on the heads of the guards. That's a little risky jump right there, but after doing the one earlier on just after the Harrier fight, you get a little bit more confidence and you feel a little bit better in your ability, and you don't have too far to go if you were to fail and fall into the water. But yeah, now we're on to the Strut L perimeter, which this is actually quite hysterical, folks. I did not know this, and, you know, credit to people on the internet, random people who know this strat, but you could literally just crawl across the floor of this and make your way around because the guards will not see you, even with the falling floors here. And I use the unequipped, equipped weapon trick to move across faster, and it does me well. So hopefully you guys can use this as well to your advantage, that little strat there. Again, it is not a strat I take credit for. This is very well known on the internet. You will find it in most places. But yeah, unlike the Blast Furnace in Metal Gear Solid 2, you can move while crouched and while hugging a wall. So now here I go for the somersaults because I don't want to get peed on by the guard. You know, and get a golden shower. You know, shout out to R. Kelly for his golden shower, you know. SNL video. Those are, you know, those are some good days. I know SNL went downhill very hard. But it had a few good runs, you know, with Andy Samberg in there and with a few other actors and actresses. So I throw a chaff grenade. We do that jump. That jump is not too bad, by the way. Again, it's all feel. If you do it enough, you won't have much trouble. But we're going into Shell 2 core right now, into the Shell 2 core, and we are gonna save the President. And one of my attempts earlier, when I was trying to save the President, is I probably wasted about 6 Nikita missiles because the guy kept running towards the frickin' control unit inside the room that you're supposed to blow up for the electricity floor, and he would not run away from it. It was kind of ridiculous. I think I messed with the pattern, and that probably had something to do with it. So now I'm going for the M9 ammo there. Very important, very integral. I go for the M4, which is not necessary, folks, and for more chaff grenades in that room. So now we are off to get the Nikita missile. I'm picking up these unnecessary weapons because, again, these are lethal weapons, and we want everything that is non-lethal in this playthrough for the big boss rank. So now we're heading down to the B1, to the flooded area, and we're going to go for the Nikita missile launcher. But yeah, folks, the Metal Gear Solid series. Out of all of them, I would have to say Metal Gear Solid 3 is my favorite. And I think I talked about that a little earlier, but it's very easy to get distracted because this playthrough, this challenge run moves very quickly. Because again, we're trying to hit a certain time, you know, under 3 hours maximum for the big boss rank. But as you play this enough, you'll know exactly where to go. And the biggest part of these swimming sections is not Raiden's breath, because Raiden has ample amount of O2. It is Emma's breath, because as soon as she loses her O2, she will take damage, and I am very careful in this playthrough because I count Emma damage as overall damage, with the exception of when she's being held up by a vamp. When you have to fire at Vamp, when he's holding her hostage in the sniping portion of the, I believe it's the oil fence segment, which is also well known as the Twilight sniping segment there. So yeah. Again, words, I don't know My brain is a scrambled egg, but we're getting through this. I want to get this commentary done because I want to get this video uploaded. So what I do is I hit the wall over there for the president to hear, and he will sometimes go and investigate. Sometimes, I stress sometimes, but you know, that generally does the trick, because again, folks, you have to remember that you can only fire weapons no more than 700 times. You have to get less than 700 shots for the big boss ranking. So now what's great is he goes towards the door and crouches down. That is beautiful. That's exactly what we want. And that was a very clean run. In my previous attempts, I probably had to fire about 6 Nikita rounds at that control unit finally to deactivate the electric flooring. And we were able to get through it. But yeah, I'm happy that was my good run because that was very clean. Sometimes the final runs can be very unclean, but yet we still get no damage. And yeah, it makes me proud when those runs go well. Runs like these.
This is card.
But yeah, so the president is now dead. Similar to how the DARPA chief and, you know, the rest of the characters in Metal Gear Solid 1 die from a supposed heart attack. But that's part of the plot line, the ridiculous plot line of Metal Gear Solid 2.
How did you manage to get out?
Which is effectively a mindfuck. As Kojima likes to be. He likes to just be a mindfuck, folks. Similar to Death Stranding, similar to all the other games that he released these days. But yeah, speaking of Metal Gear Solid 3, I am very, very skeptical of Metal Gear Solid Delta. I saw the previews of that, and it just seems like the game is going to run like utter shit because it's on Unreal Engine. Unreal Engine on PC and effectively on most consoles is notorious to run like shit. Like, yes, the visuals look great, but I would rather have higher frames in a game and have it be playable and play smoothly and have, you know, potato graphics. You know, because, I mean, look at this game. This game, for a PS2 game, for its time, looks very good. Like, I know this is the HD version of it, but you go back and play the PS2 version of it on a cathode ray tube TV, and it looks fairly good. Like, even for its time. And this is a game that came out in 2001. So watch out for this mine. What's great about these doors, and speedrunners will tell you this, is that the door activation when you hit action to start turning it is very generous. So you could be about, I feel like you could be about 10 feet away from that door, and you hit action, and Raiden will start turning it. And it is a great speedrun strat. And just in general game strat to go by. But yeah, Otacon is giving us a call. I'm just making sure I have enough air, even though when I open this door, we're pretty much at the staircase where we fight Vamp. So this segment here, until the next save, is quite long, only because you have to fight 2 bosses. And that's the Harrier at the very beginning, and then the Vamp boss battle, which is here. Now, a lot of people will tell you that they would want to save before the Vamp fight, but because of the way I go about things, and this strat that I use, this strat is one of the safest strats for this boss. All you do is you go prone, and you face this way, and Vamp will not be able to throw any knives at you, and he just does his slow walk of doom, and does that. And just before he crouches down to slash you, you hit him in the face. And if you can hit him in the mark on his forehead, which this is something that I think I heard of growing up, but I never exactly knew what it did, because I was a kid back in the day. I never could hit Vamp and have good aim back in the day. But if you hit him on the mark on his forehead where he got shot, it does even more damage, even with the M9. It's very cool. And I was actually able to get him right in the forehead a little later in the boss battle here, which is I'm pretty happy about. And because, you know, I want to be able to showcase mechanics of this game and what you can do and what you can't do. But yeah, this is effectively the boss battle, folks. It is, it's quite mundane. There's nothing impressive about this. Again, we're doing a no damage challenge run for a big boss ranking on Metal Gear Solid 2, and it's sometimes you just got to play it safe, and I'm playing it quite safe here. But yeah, while we're waiting for this, I'll point out when I hit Vamp in the mark on his forehead a little later. I think it's when his HP goes down to the P in Vamp. But yeah, when we do that, I'll point that out. But for now, yeah, Metal Gear Solid. Metal Gear Solid is probably one of my favorite series of video game history, just in general. I adore it. I love the sneaking. I love the boss battles. I love everything that it has to give, like the story. And eventually, I think, because I only did a Ground Zeroes challenge run, but I think eventually I'm going to go for No Traces challenge run for Phantom Pain on PC. Because I got the platinum on the Phantom Pain on PS4 back when it first released. But I think what I want to do is I want to be able to play that again on PC because it'll just run better. I'll be able to record easier because I hate recording on the PlayStation consoles. Even here, I had to record this on Share Factory, which is, you know, it's a great option for people if you don't have any other options. But if you have access to other options, I would highly recommend recording on PC just because all you have to worry about is losing storage on your hard disk drive or your SSD, wherever you record things to. I have a multi-terabyte hard disk drive that I record all my footage to on my PC, and it just has a lot more space, and I don't really have to worry about losing space all too much. And it really just depends on how often you record and how much you want to put things on there. But I don't do very many challenge runs often because a lot of gaming that I do is with friends or just casually or just going for chivos on the side, on Steam, or even on the occasional trophy hunt on PlayStation 5. But yeah, I wanted to make these experiences a little better, so I went for challenge runs for the highest rankings on Metal Gear Solid 1, Metal Gear Solid 2, and Metal Gear Solid 3 on the Master Collection on PS5, just to make it a little bit more exciting. Because these games are very near and dear to my heart. I love them all, but out of the three of the original trilogy, the third is probably my favorite. Now, the best one that is for playability and for gameplay mechanics, the best one is definitely Phantom Pain. But again, it lacks severely on the story department of Metal Gear Solid. Because again, as we know it, Metal Gear Solid is all about the story, as well as the gameplay. And a lot of people will complain about this, they'll say, there's too much story, there's not enough gameplay, but, we Metal Gear Solid fans, we love it. We love them both. And if Phantom Pain had the story, I think we would love it even more than we do. But yeah. But who knows? I mean, they're remaking all these Metal Gear Solid games, all the original ones. I assume they're going to go from Delta, if Delta does really well, to Metal Gear Solid 1, and then 2, and then probably... I mean, I don't know. Are they going to remake 4? Are they going to even remake 5, for gosh sakes? I don't think it's necessary, but that'd be kind of like a cash grab and a greedy grab on the corporate front, the Konami front, the pachinko machine front. But yeah. Yeah, this is going to be the slowest segment of the game, and again, I apologize, folks. I know this is not very exciting to watch. Maybe I should have sped it up, but I knew I'd be doing commentary for this, so hopefully my commentary is keeping you a little bit entertained. But yeah, this is essentially God of War 2018 chip damage the game on Give Me God of War difficulty with the tranquilizer gun. Speaking of which, modern God of War, I am not a fan. I am not a fan after trying out 2018. It was just very much a letdown. I did not like where the series went. But I bet if they called it something else and it wasn't God of War, it would probably be a decent game. Because again, you go into these games with these expectations that they're going to be similar in charm to the originals, and they don't live up to the hype. At least in my opinion, they don't. Like, yeah, it's a great story about a father and son, and they're bonding, and, Corey Balrog wants to be able to, you know, showcase that and his life choices and his life events, you know, and manifest them into the video games that he makes. But still, I don't think it was a good idea. I think he should have made it and called it something else. But again, that's my opinion. And we'll have to see. I think, there we go. So that right there, see, I panicked just then, because I thought, I was like, do I have to shoot him again? If I shoot him again, am I going to kick him out of his animation, and is he going to stab me in revolt? But no, that was me hitting Vamp in the exact mark on his forehead, and look at how much damage that did for European Extreme. That was pretty darn impressive, damage-wise. So that was very nice, because what that does is that gives me more M9 ammo when I walk around with Emma later on. And then there will be an M9 ammo box to your left here in the arena once you're done with Vamp. So yeah, I think he needs about just one more shot, and then we should be good to go. But yeah, see how this was completely safe, folks? And there's a speedrunning strat to, you know, hang in the middle of the pool in the center and wait for him to use his knife, and you can punch him and use the punching loop. But again, since I didn't have a save just before Vamp, I didn't trust myself to do that no damage. Because then I'd have to start from the Harrier fight again. But yeah, there's the M9. Ammo refill right there, which is very important. Now we're at 31 of 46, so that's plenty of ammo to get through these next portions with Emma. So now this segment here is very short, and this is me getting lost. Like, look at this. I took a wrong turn. This is me losing my mind. And we are not going to go for the body armor because it is unnecessary, folks. Because again, this is a no damage run. So there's no body armor needed. But again, if you're going for this and you're doing a more, you know, you're just going for the big boss rank, which is still very impressive. It is a very hard feat to accomplish with the limited saves that you have in this game. It's very doable, and having the body armor will be very essential. But the thing is, you know, since this game on European Extreme, since you take so little hits, doing no damage, you're not too far off from doing no damage if you decide to do a challenge run like this on European Extreme. But yeah, see, look at how small Emma's O2 gauge is compared to Ryan's gauge. It's very small. But that first hallway is probably one of the easiest swimming segments to go because it's very straightforward. So yeah, now we grab Emma's hand. There's a technique. If she starts to sit down, sometimes the hand grabbing animation will take so long. So to speed it up a little bit, you're going to run up and kind of bump her a little bit to get her going, and then you can grab her hand a little bit faster, and the animation is a bit quicker. So now here, what's very important is you're going to stick to the right-hand side, because for whatever reason, Vamp being still alive, he decided to plant some claymores on the left side of this room. But yeah, he's a cheeky bastard, that Vamp. But yeah, there's a lot of exposition here. There's a lot of story going on, and yeah, you're gonna go ahead and do that, and skip ahead because we don't need to watch it. It just adds on to the time for Big Boss. So here, I go up here for the first Emma O2 refill, and I plan my attack right here. We're gonna be going through the debris here, and we're gonna go straight up where Stillman is. See, there he is, his floating carcass. He's with us in spirit, folks. And I'm going to go ahead and aim and head on over, because we have to be very careful. This is probably one of the longest stretches for Emma's O2. You have to move over here, make a left, make a right, and then we're going to make a left right away, and then another right, and then you have to get up fast enough. And look at that. Just barely I made it without Emma taking any damage and losing her O2 completely. The good thing about Emma not taking damage as well during these segments is that she will move faster when she's walking with you, and she won't take a long period of time because she isn't injured. But yeah, here comes one of the most outdated portions of gaming right now, and there is no way that you'll be able to do something like this in modern gaming. It would be banned, it would be not allowed, and that's why they put the message at the beginning of this game telling you that you would not be able to grab a child like this and choke her and drag her to the elevator. One can only laugh at this because this is very outdated. There is no way this would pass in any modern gaming segment nowadays. Again, even though it's a video game, even though it means nothing, I mean, you're shooting people in the head, you're violent in games. I mean, it's freaking... I know the representation is, you know, not allowed and stuff like that, but I mean, come on, it's a video game, it's not real, folks. I'm not gonna go out and choke, you know, my niece after I play this game. You know, it's not gonna happen. It's just not who I am. Alright, so that guard is gonna be distracted by the guard on the ground, because again, they have tunnel vision whenever they see their compadre down on the ground. I go for the scrotum there, and I get him right in the sack with the trank round. And then now I bring Emma down. And I'm a little paranoid here because I don't know if you open the door to my right just now, and the cameras can spot you and attack you, but luckily I'm a little far enough away that it doesn't activate the door. But yeah, that guard will come out of the elevator and he will kick awake the two guards on the ground, so he'll be occupied for a bit. What I'm doing now is I'm waiting. See that guard in the distance there? He's looking down the hallway. If he notices Raiden, it's all over for the most part. So now he will go back to that position. He will be tranked. I hold up this guard, trank him. There's no time to be wasted here. We go for Emma. She was about to crouch just then, and if she did, Raiden would have to run up. I would have to run up and just nudge her a little bit, and then you'd be able to grab her hand a little bit faster. So now we're heading over to the far right here, because a guard will come in from the entrance, and you can see his feet there. See, look, I don't even need to go against the wall there and hug the wall to see him. So once he walks up, we grab Emma, we trank him, and we head on and book it out of dodge. And that's probably one of the trickiest parts of this segment right now. The next segment is very straightforward because there's going to be ciphers, there's going to be guards in the distance, there's a guard up top, which is very important to trank him because he's got binoculars, he can see you quite easily. So what I do is, since I've got the suppressor on, I go for the cipher kill, and I think there's one more cipher to my left, and I believe there might be one more to my right. See, look at that. The frickin' support on the bridge was cock blocking me just then, so I hit it, and I missed the cipher. So I wasted a bullet there. But again, folks, I think I got about, 637 shots total or something like that in this whole run. So you have plenty of shots to spare, even though I didn't hit any of my shots perfectly in this game. And this is after doing the sniping portion. This is after doing killing all the rays with the numerous stinger missiles that you need. It's after all of those things, so you don't have to worry. It is very generous, the specifications for this run, and the 700 shots you have to hit. Or getting under 700 shots, more so. So I'm waiting for that guy to turn around, and then I'm going to trank him right in the head. Again, I aim a little bit upward above the neck, because otherwise Raiden will hit him in the neck or the shoulder, and it will not count, and he'll swing around, and he'll discover me. See, look, that was me nudging Emma so I can pick her up faster and take her this way. And now I'm trying to get as close as I can without, catching fire. Otherwise, that'd be a restart, and we restart all the way back to the Harrier. So this is me swinging about with the coolant. We're trying to take out the fire. And I grab Emma, and then now we just have one more room to go before the next save, which is about, a minute 18 seconds left to go. And then we've made it past one of the final longest segments of the game. The next segment is the sniping segment, which is very not straightforward. I want to say it is not straightforward, but it is a very scripted part, and it's not a lot of moving around the big shell. So I trank both of those guards, and we're going to quickly grab Emma and get the hell out of dodge, and we're going to go through the door at the bottom. You have plenty of time. 35 seconds is plenty of time to get down to the door, open it, and then bring Emma out to trigger the cutscene. And yeah, and then next comes the sniping portion, which is going to be quite action-packed. So skip all these cutscenes, and then you're going to go down the ladder, and then that will begin the sniping portion, the Twilight sniping portion of this run. Where you get to see my wonderful aim. But yeah, I go for the row save.
What's up?
And you'll see here that my time is very generous. I think I have about, what is it? So we're at an hour 6 at our previous save, now we're at an hour 37. Alright folks, so we are trucking along right now. And again, this is the cut to my successful segment of the game where I take no damage, and Emma takes no damage with the exception of when Vamp is holding her up. But yeah, for the first part of this segment, the Twilight sniping segment, this can get a little tricky because the aiming on this is really finicky. And it's very sensitive, but for the most part, if you use the D-pad, if you're playing on a PS5 controller, it could be a little bit better, just slightly better, especially if you just tap the D-pad. Yeah, that was me nailing that guy in the head. I missed originally, but again, you really don't have to worry about how many shots you take. You know, you have to get under 700 shots, but it's not too big of a deal, luckily. So there's one guy over there at the first pillar, and I'm waiting for the other guys to spawn in. There's going to be about 3 soldiers spawning in over here, and I'm waiting for them to enter because then what I'm doing is I'm going to aim for them and fire at them. That guy got straight in the head. That was beautiful. I hit him with 3 shots to the trank, because that will, look at that. Look at how quick that was. Also, if the soldier sees Emma, that does not count as an alarm, even though it makes the noise. And it just made the clear noise, too. But yeah, now you can't forget about these claymores over here. You have to go for these claymores. Especially the one that's far over to the right. That one can be kind of a tricky one. But yeah, pretty much from here on out, you get some pretty good saves. You know, we've got... The next save will be just before the Tengu fight, where you fight all the ninjas with Snake. And the segments after this are very straightforward. You would think that the segment where Raiden is naked would be very intimidating, but it turns out to be very straightforward. Alright, one more guard is going to spawn in at the top over there. You will get ammo refills, and this is what I'm doing purposely, is I'm wasting ammo just so I can get 10 free PSG-1T bullets right there. That is a strat to use, especially for European Extreme, because you have such few ammo drops in this game. But yeah, part of the difficulty with no damaging, I mean, true no damage I'm talking here, where Emma takes no damage from Vamp when she's being held up, is running out of ammo. You do not have enough ammo, and I even tried it too. Even if you get perfect headshots on all the guards, which is very difficult, and you get perfect headshots on Vamp, you will still run out of ammo easily. So you always have to run back and get the ammo refill every single time. And the problem with that is you don't start spawning in, you don't spawn in for the fight in the location of where the PSG-1T ammo is. You have to always run back, and that makes it a little finicky. I don't know if someone did it. If they did, they are, you know, a freaking god, so congrats to them. Look at me hitting that bird, by the way. I just noticed that now. I didn't even notice. I was in the zone when I was doing this. I barely noticed that bird getting nicked right in the face. But yeah, that was pretty good. That is probably the most challenging sniping part of this entire run right here, is that guard segment over there, because they will be on Emma so fast. And that went relatively smoothly, only because this was probably my, I can't remember, maybe my 8th or 9th or 10th attempt. I haven't been keeping track, but it was a lot of attempts, folks. A Pentazemin refill is over there. So you can pick one up over there. But yeah, folks, I'm very excited to get this footage out because this was one of my most proud projects on my YouTube channel. So if people are still sticking around and watching this as far as they are, you know, thank you very much again. I really appreciated it. Again, this is just for fun. This is just for a hobby. It's to, you know, to provide some entertainment for people, and if you find some enjoyment from it, that's fantastic. You know, that's very kind of you. This is me wasting shots again. You don't have to worry about the shot count at the end. My final shot count was just a smidgen under 640 shots. You have to get under 700 shots for the big boss rank. So you are totally fine. So now for the remainder, because the claymores are all taken care of, all we have to worry about now are the ciphers. And on European Extreme, Snake does not call you in until Emma is at this very final segment of it, so you pretty much are expected to do it without his help. And if he did help, by the way, he will kill the guards. He does not use trank ammo, and that counts towards your kill total. So do not call him at all. Even though you only do it in the very final segment. And the other thing, too, about this is that I thought the guards would be getting up. I thought the 35-second trank rule applied to them, but it doesn't, which is very nice. That is very well balanced for this game, because they, you know, Kojima could have easily been like, all right, I want this to be 35 seconds only, in of course, Japanese. And I don't care what the player thinks, but luckily, he had another person on the team, you know, recommending, Kojima, this is crazy, man. You have to do it this way. So luckily he listened to the guy. And I don't know if that's the true story. This is me just making up, you know, dialogue between the two guys. Just for your entertainment. But yeah. Luckily, you don't have to worry about the 35-second trank rule. All the guards stay tranked. Alright, so now here's the vamp portion. Look at how fast he does that. And with the sensitivity of the frickin' trank rifle and, you know, aiming the sniper in this game, it's ridiculous. But look at me. I'm hitting Vamp in the face nearly every single time, and it's not enough ammo. You always have to run back and get ammo. It's ridiculous. So I just say, I don't give a fuck. Emma takes damage. You know, it is what it is, and we just go for Vamp. And this is me just going for the body, and then I go for the head as the final killing blow. And I say kill as in trank blow.
Right.
And that is probably one of the most infuriating parts of this whole game. So you got it done. Congrats. If you are watching this as a guide, which I don't expect you to watch this as a guide because this is a challenge run. But hopefully if you watch it, you'll get some pointers and some tips. But I am by no means a a challenge run connoisseur. This is all techniques and methods I learned from watching other videos online and just from the internet. I take no credit for any of these techniques, especially the Tengu fights. So there's a guy jamming out to his headphones over there, just like in the tanker, in that final hallway in the tanker, as Snake. And there's another guy in the parcel room. He didn't hear the announcement about arsenal gear activating, so the poor soul is still guarding the parcel room. He's the last guy. So I go for the chaff grenade, and we're going to make our way through. Look at the sunset, by the way. I do love the passage of time in this game. You have to be very careful here because partially the bridge has lost some of its panels when Raiden ran through the other time. So you have to be very careful there. All the cameras here are going to be deactivated. You do not want to run south in this hallway. You want to run north because there's claymores south of here. And then we go straight to the elevator, and then that was that for that segment. Very straightforward. And now the only thing effectively that's challenging between us and the next save is the stealth segment where Raiden is naked.
Jack?
Do not listen to Rose. Do not give in. Do not save. Don't waste your save there, guys. You got to waste it at... Not waste it, but use your save in front of... just before the Tango room.
It's been a while.
The Tengu
hasn't it?
room.
Jack the Ripper.
Now this torture segment is by no means challenging. You can mash this casually and just be just fine. This is nothing like the second torture scene. The second torture scene, as you'll see, luckily I did that first attempt, and I just barely got through it by mashing with my finger. Because I mashed like a madman. It was crazy. I've heard of people, plugging in, Seraphim 17 plugging in their, what was it, the Rock Band or Guitar Hero drum set and roll with the stick on it. There's methods like that. There's methods using the turbo controller, which Ocelot doesn't give a crap if you use in this game. He will give a crap if you use it in the first game, though, as he calls out,
Listen, I'll free you in a little while.
which is very charming.
Brace yourself.
Charming of the devs to do that. This is unavoidable damage, but what's fun about this is that it doesn't count as your damage in the game. Because when you kill yourself as Raiden and you see the mission failed screen, it shows you your damage stats. And I found myself, when I did die, I didn't take any damage there. Like when I decided to kill myself and just see where I was at. So that's what I call scripted damage, and it's fake damage, so it doesn't count. But yeah, some more exposition, and then we'll make our way through the Tengu sneaking room as a naked man. And you'll find here that this is the exact same torture room, or the same layout in that room that Raiden escapes from as the Metal Gear Solid 1 torture room. Which is very interesting, given that it's Arsenal gear and not Shadow Moses. So yeah, all you're going to do is wait for that guy to turn. He's going to turn left, so move to the right of him. Now, veer over to the left here. Stay behind that guy. There's one more guy up ahead. If you go to the left of him and just up the staircase, you are pretty much clear. And you're going to ignore this call from the Colonel, who turns out to be an AI. And yeah, this is me waiting for the camera so I get a good so you get a good angle there. Once that guy moves forward, you can run past him and not have to worry. That was a little scary, though. This was my first attempt through this bit of the game after completing the Emma sniping portion. So now what you need to do is you need to answer every single codec call, because that progresses the next cutscene. So here I do all the, you know, handless somersaults as Raiden's grabbing his crotch to protect it from the world, exposing his butthole to the world. His lack of a butthole, that is. And yeah, we're waiting for Snake to arrive. And when he does arrive, we're skipping the cutscene, but you will see
Jack?
in the next room that he is cleanly shaven, because I picked up the shaver back in the entrance to the plant. Which is again, a very charming thing. See, look, in his codec call, he's completely shaven.
Move the right stick.
It's very cool. Yeah, here we go. I changed the high-frequency blade to trank, to non-lethal. You press square on the PlayStation 5 controller to do that. And this is all scripted. It's timed. It's completely timed, and there's no way to stop it. I think it's like about 35 seconds or so. But yeah. So the next two portions, I found myself running out of ammo and or Snake dying so fast. So I admit I do use the skips in the next two segments of the game. And if it wasn't a big boss run, it'd probably be more challenging / more fun to probably try to no damage it. But because I'm going for big boss run, I wanted to be, you know, swift. I wanted to be fast. And I think I would try to run around with my sword in the second Tengu room if I got a save in that beginning portion. But because you don't, and you have to start here every single time, I don't bother. But yeah, here's our next save. And then we will start the very epic Tengu fight with Snake. Alright, so immediately what you see me do, this is the first of... Or, I'm sorry, this is the second of 3 required alerts, scripted alerts that count, that you're allowed towards Big Boss rank.
Follow me.
And you're also going to find here that I do not bother with Snake's damage, or Snake taking damage. And that's solely because Snake is probably at his least aggressive right now. And that's because he gets more aggressive if you hit continue every time you fail in this segment. So in other words, if you take damage, I think if Raiden gets shot once, Snake will take out his assault rifle instead of his Sockum. But because we're doing a no damage run, Snake will have his Sockum out at all times. And the fact that we're not hitting continue and getting continues in this portion means that Snake will be the least aggressive. But yeah, in this beginning portion, you'll see me be, you know, combative. You know, I'm going for all the Tengus. You know, I'm tranking them. I'm using the coolant so Snake can kill them. In this, if Snake kills them, it doesn't count as an actual kill on your end. So that was very kind of the devs to do. But yeah, here I go for the groin, because if you hit them in the groin too, it will insta-trank them, which is nice. And remember, you get the Olga damage the entire portion of this fight. you know, from when she punches you in the torture room earlier. And this is me missing, which is absolutely atrocious. Come on, Sesk, you gotta hit your headshots right now. But again, this is the very final portion. These are the final soldier battles before you fight the Rays. But yeah, this is a very well-known strat right now. This is the skip. What I do is I throw the stun grenade, I wait a little bit, and then I run forward so the guards can get stunned. And then what you do is you press up against the wall, you go into first-person mode, and you do a full combo, melee combo, punch, punch, kick. You let go of the first-person mode, and then hit back on the analog, and Raiden should run through the door. And you won't take any damage. So now what I do here is I bump into Snake a little bit so I can punch this guy in the face and grab him. And this is what's called the choke skip. So I pick up the soldier, I go in the back room, and what this does is, for whatever reason, Snake becomes more powerful here. He becomes more aware, and he's a bit more aggressive. He still takes damage, don't get me wrong. And I think I actually did this wrong a few attempts ago where Snake did die. But I think I was failing miserably. I think I grabbed the first soldier and I choked him out too fast. And so I had to go and refresh my soldier. And I say refresh, I had to re-grab another soldier in a chokehold. But yeah, what I'm doing here is I'm waiting until the guy wobbles a bit, then I grab him again in a chokehold. I wait until he wobbles and then grab him again, and we keep doing that. And when he wobbles, all I'm doing is releasing. You know, I'm not throwing him down, I'm not, you know, pressing much of anything, I'm releasing the square button, which is the choke button. And here's the infamous fission mailed screen. But yeah, you're going to see here, alerts is 3, you're going to see my shot count is 455, which is going to go way up later on. What else is there? Damage amount is at 0, as you can see, because we took no damage, even with the Olga punch. But yeah, that shot count is going to go up way more after the Ray fight, because the Ray fight is a beefy one. And that's going to be the next segment. So now this guy is now effectively knocked out. And what I do is I go prone here because in a previous attempt I got that far. And Raiden got hit with a stray bullet, and I had to restart to the beginning of Tengu Room 1. Which was kind of ridiculous. It was just my luck. But now here's what I'm going to do. I saw a speedrunner do this, and I tried to emulate it. What he did was he... That's exactly what he did. And I forgot which speedrunner it was. He's probably a very famous speedrunner, and good for him for finding this out. I take no credit for this, but I saw this, and I loved it, and so I tried to emulate it. And this is... I'm a little off, you know. Raiden is not perfectly aligned with the Stinger ammo box, but we go ahead and try it anyway, just for fun. And it made me smile the first time I saw it. So I hope you all get to enjoy it. Now we're just doing squats, because we can't skip this cutscene, folks, of Solidus, you know, explaining more exposition to us. But yeah, the next fight is a juicy one. It is a beefy one. And it's probably one of the most fun battles of this entire game, because, again, I had no idea. The first time I played this game, you know, I was already spoiled. I knew we were going to fight a million Rays, but I never fought, you know, what is it? I believe it's like 25 Rays you have to fight, or maybe 20 Rays, something like that, in European Extreme. And it's just, it's insane, and I never thought I could do something like this on European Extreme. But yeah, here we go. We're going for the next save, so you can see my time. And then I will coach you through what I do next very shortly. This is me double checking. I think I was going insane here because I was making sure that I didn't overwrite my previous good save. All right, folks. You have to defeat 20 Rays on European Extreme. And what I do here is I be very aggressive. I'm very aggressive here. Trying to interrupt all their attacks. Go for the knee, go for the head, go for the knee, go for the head. I go for the head there because I thought he was going to fire at me. Go for the knee, go for the head for maximized damage. And I missed there because now this guy's going to come at me with his, you know, laser of doom. You flip out of the way, and you got to keep moving in this fight, and it's all about rhythm here. It's all about the flow. Once you get the flow down, you're pretty much golden. But yeah, it is a marathon, not a sprint, this fight. So what happens is you have to deplete the HP bars of 20 rays total. And it doesn't necessarily mean you have to defeat 20 rays per se. It just means that you have to deplete 20 ray HP bars total. Because you'll see when I finish this, I don't defeat all the rays around me, or I don't defeat the ray, the very final ray, that is. Yeah, while we're going for this, while you're watching this footage, I can use this as a good opportunity, because this is quite a beefy fight, to talk about, you know, some other things. So yeah, as I mentioned before, you know, as a full-time job, I'm working as a therapist. You know, I've been a therapist for about 11 years, and I'm feeling the burnout quite hard right now. It is taking a major toll on me, and, you know, it's affecting a lot of things in my personal life, right? Like, it's, you know, it is affecting my enjoyment of hobbies and things like that, but I try to, you know, keep consistent with those. It's affecting my... You know, it is affecting my attitude and just my negativity towards things, and I tend to be a bit more pessimistic more than anything with a lot of stuff, and more cynical. And if you know me personally, I'm not usually like that. You know, usually I'm, you know, I'm realistic about things, but you know, I tend to look more towards the positive of things. And, you know, when you see yourself, you know, changing a lot, you know, when you see yourself changing, that is, you know, and you know, more down, or you see things through a negative lens, you know it's time for a change after that. You know, you need to do something. You need to, you know, not remain stagnant in whatever it is that you're doing if you have the ability to change it, that is. And odds are that you most likely can, unless you are in a very particular situation, or you're less privileged, or, you know, you're not, you know, in a position of ability to do so, or society is just preventing you from doing so. But I'd like to believe that, you know, with of course perseverance and a lot of, you know, resources and things, you can get out of whatever terrible situation that you're in. It's not always going to be the case realistically, obviously, but hopefully you can turn towards any support that you have, anybody that you have nearby. But anyway, essentially I'm looking for, you know, a completely different job, either within the mental health field, or, you know, anything that could be a supervising job, anything that could be more so admin. And it's quite difficult because, you know, when people look at a resume and they see 11 years of therapy experience, they're going to think that's all you can do. And it's hard to break out of that. It's kind of like, you know, I've been in a hole, you know, of therapy all my life, and it's hard to climb out of it. And it's very difficult, you know. I'm applying to jobs every single day. I'm submitting applications, and it's a very challenging position to be in. But I am, again, very lucky because I can do it, since I am currently in a full-time position to do so. So I have some support. I have financial gain coming in, but it's mainly just my sanity that's taking a toll right now, and the exhaustion and the burnout, and I'm just ready to provide in a different way. You know, I'm ready to contribute my skills in some other way that could be different from face-to-face therapy. And, you know, and I'm really getting an enjoyment from speaking to colleagues. And, you know, in my current job, what's nice is they give you the ability to sort of do an unofficial onboarding of new clinicians that enter the company. And it's nice because then you can talk to them, you can give them your advice, you can, you know, give them some feedback on things, and, you know, some comfort in starting a new job that they might be a little intimidated in. And so doing that, it's giving me an idea that I think I definitely want... I say I think I definitely, right? That kind of negates that statement. I'm pretty sure that I want to go into supervising or something along those lines, or even just being a support for people and maybe guiding them in the right direction. But I want to do it on a level of, you know, where I'm on the same level as my coworkers versus, you know, somebody who's counseling, you know, either a patient or a client. You know, I want to talk to somebody who is educated in the field. I want to talk to somebody who is also a professional who wants advice or who wants to become better. And I want to be able to inspire them and, you know, guide them on the right path and things like that. And, you know, even talking about that now, it feels me. It feels me. Yeah, this is me commentating after a long day's work, by the way. It makes me feel, you know, a little excited to do something like that. Because I wanna be able to be myself. I wanna be, you know, that, in a way, happy-go-lucky guy. You know, a kind person, and you know, show people the positive nature of what they do, and find, you know, the good side of things, no matter how dark the situation could be. And I want to do that for other people, and I think that that will bring out a good side of me again, and that would be really nice to see. And I know this sounds like a you know, like a therapy session for myself, only through YouTube, but it's, you know, this is how I feel, and you know, I hope this might maybe inspires somebody to, you know, get out of whatever bad job they're in, or, you know, whatever burnout job that they're in, and they'll be able to find something a little better for themselves. And yeah, there's a lot of other factors too, like the industry being really bad these days, or just the job industry and lack of jobs and things like that. But, you know, again, we have to persevere. We have to keep applying, we have to keep moving forward, or look for opportunities within the current company that I'm in. And, you know, there is a position that could be available, and, you know, I'm interested in it. I'm going to go for it. I'm going to apply for it and see what happens. But I'm cautiously optimistic, you know. It's not a guarantee that I'm going to get that position. So I want to come up with plan Bs. And yeah. Anyway, so that is the personal life. But on a video game note, you know, we've got August 28th, I believe. That's when Metal Gear Solid Delta releases, and I'm very skeptical. Very skeptical of the game, and I hope that it's going to be good. You know, because again, Unreal Engine makes me nervous. As I've said earlier on in this video, I think I've been repeating myself very much, but this is a 2.5-hour commentary, which I'm not quite used to on my channel. I don't usually do commentaries like these that long. But there is a first for everything, so we have to try something, right? That was very risky of me to do just then. I almost got hit by those missiles. And you have to be very careful of the Ray's feet, because even if you keep sprinting to the side like I am, they could still just sidestep like the Ray is right now. And that can still damage you, and you have to be very careful. And they could effectively stun lock you to oblivion, because pretty much any hit from these Rays is an insta-kill, for the most part. Especially if you're not wearing the body armor like I am. I am going body armor less, because why bother when it's a no damage run, right? That right there, that was very tricky. I'm pretty sure I started sweating in my controller here. But yeah, I believe we're getting close to the end, and the cherry on top of this entire boss fight, especially on a big boss rank run, is you have to survive the ridiculous Solidus torture section after this, which is nowhere near the simplicity as it was in the first portion of this game. You know, back before the Tango rooms, back before you do the stealth as Raiden naked. I don't know what Solidus was eating, but he was eating his Wheaties that morning, and or Wheaties mixed with, you know, full-on steroids, because he wants to kill you. And I'm sure it's because you effectively foiled his plans of, you know, arsenal gear, and you defeated 20 of the 25 Rays that are protecting it. Which is ridiculous. But yeah, that's another raid done. Now I think what I do here is, I'm not sure if this is going to be the last Ray or not, because we're in the G's right now of the Rays. I think you have to get to the H's or to the I's. I'm not sure. But anyway. Yeah, that Ray torture scene has the cherry on top. I'll talk about that when we get to it, because you're going to see how close I was to failing. And then, upon failing, you have to start from your save before the Ray fight, which is, again, this is turning out to be like a 15-minute fight almost, or maybe a 12-minute fight. It's kind of ridiculous, folks. But we are pressing on. Luckily, it was only a first attempt for me, that Solidus torture segment. But yeah, I hope they at least keep the charm of Delta, you know, of Metal Gear Solid 3. Because that is my favorite Metal Gear Solid of the series. And I'm talking like true Metal Gear Solid series, not like, you know, where Phantom Pain has the best gameplay, but it's the worst Metal Gear, right? One of the worst Metal Gears because of the story and the lack of story. And you effectively need to learn about the story through the tapes, the cassette tapes. But here we go, we're in the... What's interesting here, watch out for that stomp, by the way. That stomp is... That can be treacherous, because it'll knock you down, it'll effectively kill you and stun lock you to oblivion, and then you'll have to start from the beginning again. But yeah, Delta, what do we think about Delta? I mean, you can always comment if you made it this far in the video. What do we think about Delta? Are we skeptical? Are we excited? You know, is it going to remain true to the original Metal Gear Solid 3? It's funny because I read an IGN article that was complaining about Delta and how similar it was to the original, and I'm like, isn't that the whole purpose of it? To remain true and faithful to the original? One would think, right? But I guess not. I mean, I appreciate a little bit of change here or there where appropriate, you know, if they change things up just for diversity's sake, but my ultimate preference is just to not touch a beloved original unless you're just, you know, making the gameplay better or, you know, improving things, which I get it. It's effectively what the remake is going to do, but I'm still skeptical. So now we cannot save, even though it's asking us to save, and now this is the infamous Solidus torture scene that you've all been waiting for. But yeah, this is insane. I stood up for this because I was ready. I had to stand up and keep mashing. And here we go. Look at how fast he goes. Look at this. Look at that. I am mashing like a madman. You'll see me get really tired towards the end. Look at me mashing, mashing, mashing. And whomp. Look. Look at that madness. Look at that pixel of health. That's insane, isn't it? But you know, as I told Killer Elite, as I messaged him after recording this, and I sent him a screenshot of my HP, I'm like, this is perfect for a no damage run, because if I get touched once by Solidus, I don't have to really reset. So it all works out for the better, right? But yeah, I know there's going to be a lot of cutscenes that we need to skip. We've got the Colonel, the AI Colonel, you know, with the skeleton face intimidating us. And then we get to the final boss of the game, which, and our final 8th save of the game for big boss rank. But this is a much preferred ending to a game apart from Metal Gear Solid 1, because in that final segment where Liquid is firing at you from the car, it is so difficult to frickin' be consistent in that. It is effectively RNG.
Jack.
It is ridiculous, folks. But yeah, here's my final save, and you'll see my time, 2 hours, 11 minutes. But yeah, this boss fight is nowhere near like the Liquid portion, because that is so RNG nonsense. And I forgot the name of the YouTuber who released the video on the Jeep portion, the escape route portion, and it was the first true no damage of the segment. So it is possible. And this YouTuber, I forgot his name. I don't want to call him out in my video because, you know, I only call out, you know, pretty much the assholes in the industry, like, you know, like Darkside Phil. Because they're beggars, they abuse their viewers, they manipulate them, and it's pretty bad, you know, and I don't agree with it. And there's a lot more history to it than just that, too. But yeah, the YouTuber's name, I couldn't tell you what it is. he released a video and he explained things like manipulating the frames and stuff like that. I tried to emulate that, and I'm sure I was doing something wrong, folks. I'm sure I don't know what the hell I'm doing because I'm a senile 35-year-old man. But yeah, I couldn't get it to work, and I used a save state by Shin, one of my friends Shin. He was very kind enough to provide me with a save state of Metal Gear Solid 1 on PC, on the emulator on the Duck Station, and I was able to discover that it is completely random. I save stated just before that final portion of the Jeep segment, and Liquid will just decide to one frame hit you no matter what, no matter if you have the machine gun pointed on his head at all times, and it literally doesn't make any sense that Snake would not hit him and Snake would not stun him. But yeah, going back to this fight now, what you're going to see me do with Solidus is I'm effectively hitting him twice, I'm slashing him twice, and I'm waiting to bait him with the kick that he does. And whenever he does the missiles like that, we just roll into him and we start hitting him. And when he goes for the block like that, I hit him twice. I hit him again with the block, and I wait for him to recover so he can block me. Otherwise, you're gonna knock him off his feet, and he's gonna do the zoom away with the flame path. But yeah, I think this is the start of the second phase, which is probably one of the easiest phases, ironically, where he goes full roids. And you're gonna find that when he zooms around, he'll say some dialogue before he does the final zoom at your face so you can block him. So wait for him to do the slashes. Sometimes he'll go again. He says, take this, and then he'll slash you again. And that is the sequence, that's the full combo of slashes that he will use. And what I'm doing here is I can try to get the maximum damage, and sometimes he'll do the elbow, and you can loop him again. Do the Solidus loop where you slash twice, wait for him to recover, slash him so he goes into a block, and then he'll kick you again. And then you can loop him like that, just like in the first phase. But sometimes I get a little eager, sometimes I go for the triple slash and knock him off his feet, which is a bit risky, but I go for it anyway. That I was very worried there. I thought he was going to flame me to death. Yeah, go for the kick. This is me trying to go for the loop. For whatever reason, once he recovers and puts his swords in front of his face, he usually blocks, but sometimes I guess he doesn't, and I get a little too eager, and maybe I'm not getting the timing right. But yeah, that Liquid frickin' Jeep portion, it's ridiculous. Compared to this game, I love that there's no bullshit vehicle segments in this game or RNG nonsense vehicle segments in this game. I tried that frickin' Jeep segment for about way too long, and I was just getting miserable every time I tried it because you have to start your save at the very beginning of that escape route. It'd be different if you could start your save, like let's say, when Liquid appears. That would be a little bit different. I might put in a little more time because of that, but I couldn't be bothered. So I was able to do it as a segmented save state, no damage run, as shown on my YouTube video. And I do showcase the save state run and the differences that you'll see and the lack of differences of consistency with Liquid. And Liquid just decides to do what he wants. That's just really all it is. And if people have extra information to give me and share with me, that'd be great. I'm open to any feedback. Like if you tell me, hey, Sesk, you forgot about this tactic, let me know. Maybe I'll go back and record that no damage run again and make it a true no damage run. Who knows? But especially since I'm pretty burnt out on Metal Gear right now, I kind of had a summer of Metal Gear this past summer. I did the Metal Gear Solid 3 no damage Foxhound run on my channel. I did a Metal Gear Solid 1 no damage save stated technically towards the end. You know, it was all true up until the very end where I, you know, had to segment it even within the save states. And then I did Metal Gear Solid 2 just now, which you'll be seeing soon.
I think I found something
Which you're
to
watching
pass
right
along to the
now.
future.
What?
I'm speaking as if I'm in the past,
He
but
said
we
all
are
living
in the
things
present,
want their genes to
technically,
live
because you're
on.
watching
Are
this.
you talking about the baby?
And this
Yeah.
video will be the genes that I'm
The
leaving
genes are
on
the only thing
to
you
you.
pass on.
to carry on with you through YouTube. If YouTube ever crashes and burns, then my genes will be gone.
What kind of things?
But anyway, hopefully that doesn't happen and YouTube doesn't go anywhere anytime soon, because that'd be kind of a bummer.
Compassion,
But anyway,
sorrow, joy.
this is where we see where we get to hear the nice jazz, which I actually silenced because I don't know if YouTube is going to copyright
This
it.
is for your
I'm
ears
sure they will copyright the song.
only.
So I had to turn off the volume, which you will notice now, and now you can only hear my voice. Listen to the sounds of my voice. But yeah, that is the no damage big boss rank run, and I'm going to continue commentating through the credits right now. Again, folks, I wanted to thank you very much for watching this, for sticking with me. And if you made it this far in the challenge run, props to you. That is very kind of you to watch this entire video instead of watching maybe 2 seconds of it and skipping around, which, again, you're right to do so. That is totally fine. But for those who sat through this entire thing, thank you very much. That is very kind of you to do. But yeah, that is Solidus. Probably the most challenging segment of this entire run was probably the longest one, which was either the Emma swimming or the bomb disposal, because I would say it's because the length of those segments, for them both being about 30 minutes, they are quite beefy segments, and especially the ones with the Harrier and the vamp fight, that can be quite tedious to complete. So yeah. Yeah, I think this was very fun. Overall, this is a great challenge run to do. It had its moments. It had its frustrating moments, as all challenge runs do. What is it? Fat Man can be very challenging at times. He can be very finicky, and running around chasing after him with the Sockum can be a nuisance. But when you get the pattern down, when you know what to look for and what to work on, you can improve. And I think that's true for most games. With the experience, with the time, with the practice, and the appropriate practice, that is. Because, again, there's time to practice, but then there's quality time to practice. And I think there's a big difference between the two. If you have a good coach, if you have a good guide that you're watching, that can help a lot. But a lot of it is the execution, and a lot of it is carrying out the challenge yourself. So, yeah. But that is the beauty of games, right? We all have our different styles of playing. We all have our different styles of conquering the challenges within. And the beauty of it is, getting to make the memory of doing it and enjoying it. I mean, it's really all about the enjoyment, because this is part of the reason why I'm staying sane, in my current job, is I get to do amazing projects like this, and just for fun. I go for runs every day, just to, again, get the exercise. I do some weightlifting, spend time with my wife, spend time with my dog, spend time with both at once, or spend time with just my dog, which I said already, and I realized I repeated myself because my mind is a scrambled egg after work. But yeah. No, it is a privilege being able to do something like this, and, having access to the equipment, having access to all these things, it's amazing. It's something we need to practice gratitude for. So I highly recommend everybody else practicing gratitude for what you have in your life. Whether it's something simple or something complicated, or something that you get to do every single day, and what your body allows you to do every single day. If it's whatever, what have you, right? It's very nice. But yeah, this is quite funny because we can't hear any of the music. Because again, I'm worried about copyright infringement. So, we get to watch the B-roll footage that Kojima captured and his crew. Oh, but yeah, you have to check out the This Is How You Don't Play Metal Gear Solid 2. That one from, the Dark Side Phil detractors, and or the This Is How You Don't Play Redemption run, because I got such a good laugh after playing this game and becoming reacquainted with all the mechanics again, because the way Phil just approaches things, it just makes you have a lot of forehead slaps. You know, I think of Naked Gun 33 and a third, and the everybody and then the entire audience at the Academy Awards slapping their head when Drebin gives, I think it's Pap Schmear the bomb at the end in the envelope. Everybody slaps their head. Which I haven't, come to think of it, I have not seen the new Naked Gun movie with Liam Neeson. And I hear it was relatively decent, but I'm still very cautiously optimistic about it. You just can't top the originals with Leslie Nielsen and the original cast, and even oh gosh, yeah, Nordberg and everybody, O.J. Simpson for gosh sakes, in those movies. Oh man, those are just great movies. They are. It's a type of humor that is just so. It's just wonderful. It's very smart, I think, but also slapstick humor. It's like Three Stooges humor to a degree. It's wonderful, but also very smart. Just what they think of, and for you to be observant in the environment behind them. It's very nice. It's very entertaining. It's great. But yeah, you're probably wondering, what challenge run am I going to do next? And the question is, that is a great question. I have no idea. I have no idea what I'm going to do next. But I'm sure I'll come up with something. Maybe I'll wait until Stellar Blade drops in price on PC, and maybe I'll do a no damage run of that game. Who knows? Because I did like how it played on PC when it finally got released to it. As all PS5 games nowadays do, which is fantastic. But then it sort of defeats the whole purpose of owning a PS5 and the exclusives, right? And now, especially since Mark Cerny and crew increased the price of the PS5, which is absolutely ridiculous, and the PS5 Pro, the almighty PS5 Pro, to like $750. Can you believe that? $750 for a freaking console. I can get a new freaking sump pump for $750 and installation, for gosh sakes. I could get I can get a lot of different things with that kind of money. I can go on probably like a weekend getaway vacation at a nice spa or something like that, maybe. $750, my gosh. And it's not even for something that's exclusive. And yeah, what I recommend, folks, is if you can afford it, invest in a PC. Invest in building your own PC so you know exactly what components are in there and exactly what GPU and such to use, because it is worth it. Especially nowadays, if you're able to, and you have that access and you have that room, go for it. Because the console generation these days is falling down a hole very fast. It's very sad. Now, accessibility, if that's all you have, great. You probably are none the wiser and you don't see the difference. But I would recommend, if you have that, accessibility, if you have the finances for it, go for a PC. But that is my opinion, folks. Oh, yeah. All right, so now I unmute.
Snake.
And we skip ahead, and you will see here 8 saves, 0 continues, 3 alerts, 0 persons killed, 0 rations used. Playtime 2 hours, 26 minutes, and 6 seconds. Plenty of time with all the shenanigans that I did in this run. And here we go, the big boss rank. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for tuning in, and you all have a good one.